And I think we're live. Hello, everybody. So today we'll have another Hangout. I have a guest here called Leveled Out. He was in one of Anthony Riley's Hangouts, or maybe more than one of his Hangouts, I don't know. And he has a model representing the behavior of objects regarding moving them towards the horizon or back from the horizon. And I think there's a massive flaw in that model, which I want to present later. So hello, Leveled Out.
Hi, can you hear me? Hiya.
Yeah, I can hear you brilliantly. It's all right.
Great. Yep. Well, you've introduced us, and I'm ready to go.
All right. So it would be brilliant if you could just show us the model that you presented to Anthony a week ago or so. You know, the one regarding the three figurines that you were shifting or moving around in your 3D representation.
Yep.
Do you know how to share the desktop?
Yep. I'll just go and do that now. Yep.
All right.
Right. Can you see this? Yep.
I can see it, but I think I have to send it to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody should be able to see it now. Yes. Yeah, I'm getting feedback from the live stream. It seems to be working.
Right. Yep. I was intending to show this anyway, but since you've asked me to actually show it yourself, is there a point that you wanted to make before I expand?
Not really, no.
So there's no reason for why you're asking me to bring this model up.
The reason is because, first of all, it would be nice if the audience would know how your model works, and then I'm going to explain to you why I think it's flawed.
Right, yeah, brilliant. This model works because you can see three people standing here that are all obviously of different heights. And the one in the middle is a person where she's level with the horizon. Now, the fact that she's level with the horizon means nothing. This isn't my point, what I'm making. But a lot of people got confused. And even Soundly himself, I've heard make comments that my information must be flawed because you can obviously see that the smaller woman is below the horizon. And like I sort of face palmed myself there because you're obviously not understanding what I'm coming from. This screen, this whole environment that I'm now moving around is the observer's eye. This is your head that now I'm looking around and now I'm very high, I'm very low, I'm actually under the ground. This is the observer. Now, when you are looking straight ahead, you can be said to say on any camera, any photography, that the center line will be centered if you are looking straight ahead. Now, if I were to tip my head down, the horizon will come up to the top of the screen. If I were to look up, the horizon would go to the bottom of the screen. A lot of people don't think that the horizon is your own personal horizon. Well, I'm about to prove that the horizon you see in real life is your own personal horizon. Now, if I just, again, align myself here, you can see that this woman, where it says eye level, is eye level. Now, if we pull this woman towards us, what should we expect to see on our face? This being our face. Should this woman, I'll tell you what will happen. Her eye height will meet our eye height. We are now sharing her horizon. And if we move her towards us, we can see that quite clearly when she's moving exactly level that she meets our eye height. We are sharing her horizon. A horizon is personal to yourself, to where you're standing. Now you can say I'm sharing a horizon of a child. You can say it's a child. How can I know this? Because if I move this child towards us, her eye height will equal mine. We can check this on an eye height here. I am now 3 foot tall. I'm literally 3 foot tall. When I line myself up with this woman here, you can see that I'm 4 foot tall. And here, this is a proper scaled woman here. And you can see that she's just roughly she's 5'8" here. And what I want to show you is after this is a couple of pictures. Here, we can see that that's leveled with the eye height. Now, can I just ask you, would you say that this picture here is an accurate representation of perspective, ignoring the fact that it is on an infinite plane? Would you say that this is an accurate representation of perspective, given that this woman could be walking forward here? These are the steps that she's taken to come here.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. And what about this one?
It's hard to tell, but it looks somewhat wrong, so no.
No. This one is the true reality, and this one is a mock-up that I've created. This one isn't reality. Now, these are both 2D images. The ones I've just shown you are both 2D. This is a true perspective, what I've done, and it is a 2D image in a 3D environment. And here I'll just show you that. It is 2D, but it is in a 3D environment. That's this one here. And this one is the one that you agree is correct. And this one is, again, a 2D image, which I've just aligned to a true perspective in a 3D environment. So this one being the fake image and this one being the real image, we can examine what we would see in real life if we could stretch them out. Now, CAD, people don't trust it, but CAD shows you more than anything could ever show you in real life. Now, from the 2D perspective, that is true. I will show you how it works out in real life. We can see that when we move, the woman that looks like she's far away is genuinely far away. And in a moment, we'll measure the heights to confirm that they are, in fact, exactly the same height. That is the true 3D perspective. This one, like you said, looks like a little wrong. And now when we go to the false perspective, what I've mocked up, we can go here and put that into the real world and have a look. And this looks real, but it is, in fact, a false perspective. And to show you that, the woman is at the equal distance, but scaled massively. Now, the reason this looks right, the reason that it did trick you, is because you don't understand the intricacies of how a horizon works when it is personal to you. If you don't put it personal to you, you will fall for this flaw. And this flaw is apparent in Soundly's video, which I will highlight. But I can tell you straight away that looking at the closest woman, this point here indicates my eye line. Now, here, this woman, she should have dropped down to there, her elbow. Here, this horizon, it isn't even touching now. And here you can see she is clearly well above the horizon. This tells me instantly that this was magnification, but where you do get this effect is when you zoom in onto objects. Even over what you think you're living on, the globe, you can get distorted effects zooming in onto objects. And what we get to do in CAD is to see what it would look like if we could literally look around that zoom. And these people are really that far away, but what has happened to break away from the illusion? What has happened is magnification. What happens when you zoom in on a camera? You are magnifying your image to look further and you are stretching them out. Now, I have a couple of like videos and stuff to show you.
What I want to talk about is what you presented during the hangout with Anthony. It was you had the 3 figurines that you just showed.
Yes, here.
And yeah, and right, and you stretched them out towards the horizon. And the claim you made was that the position of the figurines, or in this case, the faces of the figurines, to the horizon would be always identical. So that, for example, the middle figure that you are showing right now would be always at the same level as the horizon, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that this only works on a flat surface. So the argument that you guys made during the hangout in itself was circular. You started with the flat surface, showed that this would work, and then came back to say that it was a flat surface as a result. The reason why your model is false is, well, I can show you. I can share my screen and we can go through it, all right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think it's on screen 3. Yeah, this one. Give me a second. So can you see my screen?
Yep, just a mirror effect. Yep.
All right, now I'm really crappy with 3D programs, so we'll do this in 2 dimensions. Do you understand that the 2-dimensional representation works in this case?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm doing is I have this circle representing the surface of the planet. I know it's not to scale. We can do it to scale afterwards if you want. But first, let me start with this one. And this line here, particular this part from here to here, represents the height of the observer. So your camera height. Now, in this case, obviously, the horizon is at this position. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to take this line. And what I'm going to do with it is I will rotate it by a certain amount. For example, by let's say 0.5 degrees. It's the wrong direction, sorry. So it's minus 0. Let's go for -1 degree. Okay. So this line still has the same length. So when you compare it to your 3 figurines, it should be the middle one, as that one had the same body height as the one with where the camera was positioned. So what happens now when I set them both at the same position and zoom in is that this part here will be above the horizon line. Do you see that?
Yep.
Well, and that effect, I'm just going to copy it again, is going to get much stronger as practically the further you go away from the position of the observer, as you can clearly see here. You see that?
Yep.
So that means that when a person is the same height as you, the further that she goes away from you, the further up relative to the horizon she will be. If we repeat that with a smaller person, so I'm just going to delete these, copy, paste, -1 degree. Make this a little shorter, like that. Let's go a little further. So this line here would represent a smaller person, as you can see. And right now, obviously, the head of the person would be below the horizon.
Yep.
All right. But what happens when you go further away? Shown in this case, you need more distance. So let's go for 348. That's 10 degrees from the last line. As you can see, the further towards the horizon it goes, the further up it goes. And at some point, let's go in 10-degree steps here. As you can see, the part of the body that is above the horizon will grow, or it's a bigger part of the object that is above the horizon.
Yep.
You agree so far? All right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. And here's the point roughly where the horizon is. So you see that all of the object now is above the horizon. Do you agree?
Yep.
Okay, then that proves that you were wrong in Anthony Riley's Hangout, because you said that if there was a smaller person, in this case the smaller of the 3 figures, then her face would always be below the horizon. And I just showed that this is not the case on a flat surface.
Yeah, but I can't actually be wrong, because I also got proof to show you that this is for a flat plane. But I will definitely agree with what you've got here, and I will also slightly retract on what I've said, and I will explain what I mean now. This perspective works on a flat plane, and what you've just shown me here, if we take that 3D and we go linear both directions on the X and Y, that what you've just shown me here, they are extending above the horizon. And now laterally, this, when I made my statement that it works on a globe, I was thinking of looking forward and the curve, and stuff will vanish into the horizon. But here, what you've shown me quite clearly, because I haven't actually done my due diligence on this, is that it is extending. So now I could make a prediction and say that things will dip into the horizon, the same as on a plane, but they will extend above as they're sinking. And now,
No, they're not sinking. That's
no,
what I'm showing. They're
yeah,
obviously rising relative to the horizon. If this is your line towards the horizon, your line of sight to the horizon, then these objects are
yes, but you've got to
rising, definitely.
count the degree of the no object there. We are working on 69 miles. You've got 1 degree. You're working on this.
Yeah, as I said, if we can do the same on scale, we can do it if you want. And it will show the exact same thing, that at the point where the horizon is equally as far away as the object you're observing, then everything will be above the horizon.
Right, you can show that later if you want, yeah.
Yeah, we can do it to scale. It's a little bit more complicated because I need another program, but I think it'll do. Do we want to do that?
I'll just show you mine first, yeah.
Sure.
Right.
So, share for everybody. All right.
Right. The first one I want to go to is Soundly's video. And here we can see the definite appearance of curvature. And
yes,
what I argue here is that the horizon, this is not the horizon.
Then where do you think the horizon is?
Well, based off what perspective tells me, I would put the horizon. If Soundly, I'll just pause this. If Soundly,
just please pause this. Pause it where you can actually see the power lines. That would be awesome. Just take any frame where you think represents best what you're trying to show.
Where to represent better? Yep.
You just find the frame with the best picture quality. That would be best.
Well, it's more just there. I'll leave that there.
Here, all right.
I'm claiming that this isn't the horizon. Now, I just want to explain a bit like if Soundly's went out and went to get this shot with the intention of proving curvature, I'm sure that he will have held the camera horizontally. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, holding it vertically into the sky wouldn't make much of a point.
Exactly. So I'm just making sure that you can agree with me that he must be, for us to trust this, holding it horizontally. Boom. He's got as straight eye level as he can get it.
Yes.
Right. Based on that, I would say that the rule of perspective is you take the center shot, and here I will put the horizon here, and I'm going to prove that the horizon is here, and this is the horizon. Right?
So you think the horizon is higher than much higher, or in this case, much higher than
and there's a way
the surface of the sea is.
With Soundly's video, there is a way, but before we do that, we have to look at what I'm proving now. I don't have a globe model to show you, do I? So I have to prove that the flat plane, for me to have any sense, I would have to show that the flat plane works on the infinite plane. What I'm showing is true to life. Now here is a bit of footage of the exact same whatever English pontchartrain.
Pontchartrain.
Yep.
And I think it's misspelled. I think there's a T missing between N and C, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, this video here is showing, contrary to what Soundly's showing, this is showing absolute straight following perspective shot of the power lines. And here, as we zoom in, you'll see the other tower that's in the distance come into focus. Now, this is following true linear perspective into a vanishing point. Here, we can pause this. This
Stop.
Is a horizon.
This, I think what you're showing there, this horizontal structure might be, have you seen the actual power line on Google Maps?
Roughly,
because I think there are two power lines, and I'm not sure if this is the same one that is
all
Soundly's
I'm
showing.
referencing it for is to show that it's from the same direction as Soundly's filmed.
Are you sure?
Yes, yes, because then you see actually here on the car, you can see that he is actually at the same reference height that Soundly. There's a car. Here we go.
Can you maybe show the first pylon? Yeah, that looks like it's identical. So okay, all
Yes.
right.
And right here, I'm going to pause it. Here, if you'll remember, on Soundly, we have the anomaly starting to where it seems to curve. Now, here it is. I'll just slow that up there. At the comparable distance where it starts to curve, and notice that these are above the horizon. If he was holding it level and he was on the road, I tell you that I put it in the central of the screen, the camera. So if I come back to this video here, based on where there. Now, can you see where I'm pointing to here?
Yeah.
Now, can you see these are under the horizon, and this is actually the globe, well, the flat plane, what I believe it is, but these are under the horizon. Now, can you remember what I've shown on the modeling and how
Yes.
just follow? Now, if we just watch this, I've just noted, like, you were questioning how would I know the height? Do you see this? I gave a guesstimate. Look at this. I've just noticed this now. Now look, that is following linear path, is it not?
I'm not sure
Is it
because
giving the
I think the
well,
zoom level of this camera is
yes,
far worse
okay,
than the other one.
I think that's sort of avoiding, but this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to compare when you don't know how the zoom level is.
Fair enough. You don't know how the zoom level is, but could we agree that we are seeing to the end of the Pontchartrain power lines?
No, we can't tell it.
No, here, this building. This says that this is further than the power lines, for one, because it is higher. It's either a higher building or it is exactly at the end of the power lines. Either way, I could go on Google Earth maybe later and detect this, but for the argument's sake, I'm saying that if you watch this, that we can see we are seeing to the end, and this isn't sea, this is land.
Yeah, so let's go with that. The horizon is in this video where you think it is. How does it make you believe that it's higher than the ocean in the other one?
Just what I've explained. Like, this person here has genuinely gone out to try and get this, and for him to do that, if he pointed his camera in the sky, you wouldn't see the pylons. If he pointed it down at the floor, you wouldn't. His camera has to be horizontal. Now he's got it horizontal, and here we can see plain as day that these are following perfectly without deviation the horizon. And on Soundly's, we can see perfectly that they aren't following any horizon. And now I'll show you.
Yeah, can you just stop it right there because I want to show you something before we go further. I'm going to share my screen again. Give me a second. So we'll just continue where we left. So as you can see in the footage, the concrete foundations of the power lines are much shorter than the observer height is. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right. So then it's fair to say that these lines represent the power line foundations. Okay.
Yes.
I know it's not the scale. We can do it on the scale afterwards. That's no problem. But what you can see is, let's just draw some more lines. So actually, I need 2 more of these at least. So here. Right here. And 1 here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the angle of the observer. So the angle of the line of sight from the observer to the foundation of the power line relative to the angle of the horizon. Okay.
Yep.
So I need another color. Let's go for, I hope you can see red, whatever. So when we start, what the heck? Getting an error message, just give me a second. I should have it. Okay. No. What the fuck? Okay. Red. Okay. So this is the direct line of sight to this point. Here to this point. Why the heck doesn't it change to red? Whatever. Another one. And another one. So what you can clearly see is that the maximum height of or the maximum angle that where the power line is above the horizon is either directly on or before the actual horizon. So if we continue, you can see that the highest you have to look up is, in this case, this position, which if we go back to Soundly's video, let me just find it on YouTube. I don't know if it's the same video, but whatever. Just give me a second. Yeah, this one is good enough. So I don't know if this is the exact same video that Soundly made that you're showing, but it's not important because the footage is roughly identical. So you can see that until about here, the pylon foundations seem to be rising. Do you agree?
Yep.
And we can clearly see that the when you go back to my drawing, that the horizon is always on the spherical model, always below the line of sight to the foundation of the pylons after a certain distance is passed. So you see here it's below the horizon. I think about right here it would be directly spot on the horizon. So you can see that the horizon on the position where the pylon is, or the pylon foundation is the highest in the picture, in the frame, that the horizon has to be below it, which fits. So judging from this picture, there's no reason to assume whatsoever why the horizon should be further up.
Right, can I give my critique on what you've done there?
Sure.
There you can see an obvious thing of what you're doing is that you are looking, now your line of sight is going lower and lower on the pylon. Now, what this does do in reality, like you pointed out, is you see the top of the image mostly. But
the top of the image? No, not really. I mean, under the condition that the line of sight is straight, which it obviously is. I mean, it's obviously straight. Then actually, it's not important whether it's the frame is directly orientated towards the target.
No, yeah, you missed my point. You are looking down to the horizon, and as you're looking down to the horizon now from any of these lines, they carry on.
Wait, down to the horizon. Shouldn't there be no down on a flat surface?
It's the globe that I'm presupposing, and I don't.
All right. Okay.
Just as you've got it there, because the only way that we could actually describe this to anyone who didn't know as a layperson is to say that this is a person and they're looking down. They're their line of sight, the tangent that is just skipping past the curve of the Earth. That, where it meets, that is your horizon. Now, if you notice that it's blindingly obvious that you are looking at the lower portion of it, but the higher portion will be visible, and that is the effect what people play on. The top of them pylons are there. This is atmospheric conditions, and I'll prove that in a minute as well. But that is what you are seeing, and on Soundly's video, where it meets the horizon, I argue that You have educated me on the curve. This I've sort of neglected, but it will stretch ever so slightly above the horizon. But it will do is the pylons will shrink before they disappear over the horizon. The
Yeah,
base of
wait.
the pylon.
All right. If you do that, I just want to have it on the record. Since you say that I've corrected you on the
Yes.
globe in this case, um, do you agree that the model that not Soundly, that Kara, for example, did actually shows the same effect?
I haven't looked.
Because if you look back at Kara's model, let me just find that as well.
Actually, I'd say Kara's model. You should bring that up because that would prove and that I'm now thinking that it would possibly come up a slight bit. And from memory, I think like Kara there, that looks flat to me there.
Yeah, because if you look back at her footage, you said during Anthony Riley's Hangout that her model actually supports your position that the top of the pylons should not be above the horizon.
Yep.
But when we actually look at Kara's Hangout, or I don't know, was it Kara's Hangout or Soundly's, whatever, you can see the green line, and the green line is the horizon. You can clearly see that the pylon foundations are above it,
Actually, there I
as
would
I
stop you.
predicted.
There you can see that I could zoom in now. I could see that now, and actually, I'll bring that video up myself. That green line has been manipulated, and I've not really know. I just going off memory that Kara moves the green horizon line and also the camera height, and there, them couple of pixels of grey are above. Now,
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, all she does is
where I can see the grey going.
because wait, as far as I remember, everything she did was so the white part of this frame is the actual surface, the round or
Can
the
you zoom
spherical
in on it?
surface, and all she did was add this line to better show the contrast in this case.
Can you zoom in?
Ooh, I don't think so. No, give me a second.
You don't really have to there, right? Just put that big again.
You can clearly see that if you zoom in, that the entirety of the foundations is above the horizon.
No, I would argue that what I've just said and discovered, because I do understand what you were saying, and I did say that I was only thinking in a forward direction of a curve, that the curve going both sides dictates Kara's model is accurate, that a curve
What do
going
you mean by both sides?
both X and Y, left to right, has to curve.
No, left and right is irrelevant. We could also be on a cylinder, and
No,
the
you're
same
missing
thing
the
would
point.
happen.
Well, allow me to explain my point then. Left and right, there is a curve going on. Kara, do you agree that that is a globe that Kara's modelled?
Yeah.
So, do you agree that left and right has a curve?
Yes, but it's irrelevant.
Yes, no, it's not irrelevant if you allow me to make the point. At the distance that she zoomed in with the focus, if she zoomed out now, that would look straight on Earth. You would agree? There's now she's
No. What do you mean? What do you mean by straight? I mean, as we can see, because the distance from this pylon to this pylon is far longer than from this pylon to this pylon.
yes,
Of course, the curvature is going to look more extreme here as it is here.
yeah, but
That has nothing to do with the fact
no, if you go on in the
that
video, this is what I can remember. You'll see Kara has cognitive dissonance, and this is where I sort of got it. I didn't have keen eyes. There, I will agree with you that that is going above the horizon, but I'd like you to agree that they are receding gradually before they get there. They are, in effect, we know this is a globe. They are going over a curve, and if you'll
yeah,
step
but they
forward.
are not that straight here.
No, this is if you watch Kara's model, she has the circumference at 3,595 miles. That is exact. She has the pylons at 1.0.1 eighth of a mile. That is 950 feet. She's got this model exact. And with what you just told me before, I was making the claim that they'd run into the distance, but now I know that I have to take account of the left and right, which I didn't. And that is a gradual curve. It looks straight here, but we know it's a curve. If we lived on Earth, they would stretch above the horizon. Now I'm going to show you how they don't stretch above the horizon.
What do you mean by stretch over?
Looking at a big ball, if you look down at a big ball like that, you can literally see that whatever is on top, you are going to be able to see it's higher than the ball.
You mean that you can see still part of this pylon, although it's past of the horizon? Is that what you mean?
Sorry, say again. I
So,
flicked to my screen. I
so,
thought I was sharing.
so in my drawing, this part sits roughly where the horizon is, as seen from the vantage point. But you can obviously see big parts of the other pylons that are further away. Is that what you're saying?
No, I thought you were trying to make the point to me then. No.
No, I'm asking you.
Just go back to the picture again. And I'll go and explain again because I think I've lost me
Oh.
now. Here.
Yeah, I just don't understand what you mean by stretch out. Or what did you say? Stretch over?
Go back to the picture. I have no idea. I've totally lost my own thoughts here.
Yeah, you mean Kara's picture or mine?
I'm relating just to Kara's.
All right.
Here, I am saying that here, this horizon line is just slightly under, but I won't pick that. I will say that I will definitely agree that these pylons here visually on this globe, and I remind you that this is the only evidence that I think we see of a globe because the pictures I'm about to show you. But here I will agree, and that is because I haven't taken into account, I've visualized a cylinder. This looks like a straight line, but I know Kara's modeled this perfectly, and this line is bending, and this is what gives us this effect. Now, I know what I'm talking about here, and now I can model this in real time for you here pretty quickly as well. And I will be able to replicate the same results, and it will look flat, but on the flat plane, you won't get that. Now,
so your current model is completely on a flat surface, so there's no curve there whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
And do you have the possibility to model it on a spherical surface?
Yes.
That would be awesome if you could do that.
I have a model, but first, before I do this, I just want to make the other points to keep it going. What I was
Yeah, sure.
Now, this here is a video. This is what I'm going to suggest on atmospheric conditions. Now, this is from Jeranism.
I know it. I've seen it.
Yes. Here, just for everyone else then, so I think this is brilliant evidence. I'll just play this. This is a time lapse. And here we can see that the humidity, I'll put this on the big screen. It's going to show you now that throughout the day, what atmospheric conditions do to observers' viewpoint. When you're looking here, now we can see the coast.
Yeah, you can see the coast rise and drop, but you cannot see parts of it disappear.
You can't see. You can.
I don't think you can. No, I think the stuff gets compressed in height, but it doesn't go away completely.
Regardless, every picture that gets examined on flat Earth is under scrutiny for compression and anything. Imagine I've given you this as a picture. I don't show it you in video format. I just go here. Now, there, do you see that I could say that's going under the curve and this is a lot higher. This is why you can see it. I could just say that. But then when I come back to
yeah, then I would answer what reference do we have? Because I would like to have a reference on the other beach over there where we can check if there's something wrong with it.
I'm glad you mentioned what reference do we have, because now what reference do we have to this, to Soundly's video? What reference do we have? Well, I have a reference video that I've already shown you. What reference do I have here? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, I guess, when he's going straight here, look, I put the horizon there, and I have proof.
Yeah, can you go back? Your frame rate is quite shitty right now.
Yeah.
Just go to the frame or to the part of the video which you want to show. Here, all right.
There. I'd put the horizon. Well, judging off this, I'd put the horizon roughly there. And
so how much up from the surface of the sea? Like maybe 20 pixels or something? Just keep your pointer for like 2 seconds where you think the horizon is.
Point, where the pointer touches the sea and where it hits the arrow is
All right.
roughly. I don't know because this is pointing up now. Let me just play a couple of seconds and then I'll give you a judgment of where I think it
Okay.
is. Now there's that what you saw on that car. This is Soundly's video. I'm just waiting for him to drop the camera. If it's going to go up, down there, I'd say that's his center. I'd put it there.
All right, but I've already shown you that geometrically that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You have shown me what you've shown me, what you've been taught. But here,
No. That's not what I'm being taught. I mean, I didn't look this up before. I just drew the model. This is not something that is. Yeah, that is not something that is learned. I just went with a condition that first we have a spherical surface, and then I drew the model to find out what would happen.
Naturally, yep.
Yeah, and the result is obviously that the horizon is below the point where the pylons are the highest, or the highest, whatever.
I would say here that was on a model with the Earth's curvature. Now,
yes,
I have a reference here to Soundly's video. Now, this is just a reference. This is all I will treat this as a reference. And here I can see a horizon height that seems, I don't know how to say this, but seems to mimic CAD system. It seems to do exactly what a flat plane should do. And the horizon also seems to be at eye level, but I have no way of checking this on here. But since you like, I've sort of just realized now that I can check it on Soundly's video. I'll just go back to that. There, you see it's meeting there.
What is meeting where?
The horizon, visually, is meeting there. So that's a good marker. I'll use that as
yeah, but.
And I think that was roughly where I was pointing, was it? I'm a mile off, or no, I think I'm pretty blowing close. I'm gonna. Is that second one?
But if you go back to the this one,
second one,
yeah, you can see that as seen from this point, the part of the power lines. I have to show it on my screen. So can you send me the link of the video via the internal chat function?
Yeah.
It's on the top left, I think. No, not via YouTube. Yeah, but whatever. That works as well.
Oh, it didn't.
You can't. You're not an admin. Just do it via the internal function. So go to the Google Hangouts window. You know the chat window? Yeah, that one.
Yep.
And then on the top left, there should be a list of functions pop up, and there's a chat function. Yeah, that one, yes. Then now a window opens on the right side where you can copy and paste. No, on the lower right corner, you can paste it. All right, I got it. So, God damn it. So going back to my screen. And actually, can you please send me the footage of Soundly that you were using so I can jump between the two? Okay, where's the second one? Just give me a second. Ah, there it is. All right. Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Can the rest should be able to see my screen as well? I don't think I'm broadcasting. Just give me a second. I'm restarting the broadcast function. Here we go. I hope it works. So there's a quite an accurate way to estimate how high the observer height is. We've already seen that basically the further you zoom into the picture, the more of the curvature will be visible because you see more of distance, right?
Debatable, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that means that using the first few pylons, you can estimate where the height of the observer is. And I think in this case, the observer has about the same height as about here. Do you agree?
I'm glad you agree with that. Yep. Yep.
More or less. Yeah.
Yep. I
but
100%
if
agree.
you go to this footage, and if you show the part where, yeah, here, it looks like maybe the observer height is lower. I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. I mean, here it appears so, but it's, as said, it's hard to estimate it.
If you understand perspective, though, it tells you the observer height as long as you could measure an object. If an object is running in a straight line, if you know how big that is, then you know how high the person is that took the picture. And I can show you how to work this out. I have already sort of explained it, but never got to showing. But yeah,
I'm not sure what you mean, but yeah, just show it.
Yep. Just show. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing the screen again.
Right. Yep. Here we'll go for him. We've just made the rough guess that he's going to be on. I'll go back to this video just quickly. I'm not guessing now. I've made a guess, but now I've got my reference. So I'm gonna say that this is Soundly's observer height.
More or less, yeah, we can agree on that, I think.
Yeah. And now that was that second sort of diamond thing up. There's the bottom one. And could we agree that that's a second diamond?
More or less, yeah, I think.
And there, could we agree that I'm pointing centrally to
yes.
the camera?
Yes, I agree.
And Soundly's held it horizontally. We've passed eye level. And here, it shows eye level on the horizon. Your horizon isn't personal. Your horizon is personal to you. The camera is the horizon. It is my eyes stuck there. I could move the camera away and my eyes are seeing the same image. Agreed?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean.
If I was taking this shot myself and I'm looking through the camera, once I move the camera away, reality still reflects the same.
Yes, I mean the point of view is obviously identical. So the zoom would be different, but not the point of view.
No, well, the observer height would still remain the same.
Yes.
Yeah. And here we have the reference to an observer height, and I can prove that reference with an observer height, whichever height that you have here. I have this woman here. Forget again, it's not about the woman that I'm using. It's the fact that here we move her, we can see she's sticking with the observer. So now my eye height is roughly there. If my eye height is bang in the center, now I can see that this woman is tall to me. I could make an estimation that this woman is tall. If I was stood on the beach and on a flat land, I could just look and see that this woman is taller than me. I'd come up to her waist, my eye height. I've done that before, and this is what I mean. We can see that that's a good estimation.
Yeah, all right. But what's your point?
That is how you judge seeing distance on perspective, when you understand perspective and things that are running straight, if you know them to be true and straight, you can use them as a perfect guide to estimating the observer height that took the photo.
Yeah, as said, I have no problem with your estimation of the observer height. But
Okay, so
what do you think follows?
it follows that here the observer height driving on the road is relative to the last person that drove on the road and took this shot. Soundly's height.
What do you mean relative? You mean they are identical?
Soundly, yes. I mean,
All right.
Soundly was on the bridge, and Johnny, this person, was on the bridge.
Okay. So what?
So if Soundly is on the bridge and he has this image, and I've just shown you the atmospheric refraction that throughout the day, the humidity that it brings.
Just before you continue, are you sure that? Wait, I have to get the footage out again, because are you sure that the height of the highway always stays the same?
No, I'm not sure at all. But what I am sure of is that this is displaying what I can quite clearly demonstrate now with posts, sticks, or anything, that these towers are all agreed to be at the same height.
Yeah, you should do that by zooming more into the distance.
No, I mean, just on your general perception, do you agree that them towers are at the same height? Because I think
yeah, they look as if they're on the same height. Yeah.
Yes.
But as said, you will see more effect of curvature the further you zoom in.
Yes, exactly. You would think that, and that's what we've been told. But here we can see.
No, that's as I said before, and as I'm now saying again, it's not something that is taught. You can directly infer it from the model that I drew.
But that's where it's sort of breaking down, because I'm not using a model. I am using a picture of reality that is in stark contrast to Soundly's video. And what this brings down to is who is doing CGI. I claim none. I claim that they are genuine pictures in atmospheric conditions.
How do you wait? How do you differentiate between this one, or this one's being CGI, and one that Soundly made a CGI?
No, I'm alluding to a point of.
No, you just said that this proves that he's doing CGI. Soundly's doing CGI.
Right, well, you
and my question is,
no, you can rewind this.
My question. Wait, my question is.
You've manipulated my point there, though, because I've said that I clearly state that these aren't CGI. I'm just saying, is that where this conversation is going to go with this proof? Is it that going to go down a road of that this is not a genuine image? Because
this is a genuine image, or this is not a genuine image?
I think you're sort of avoiding a point. Could we just agree that this footage is real?
For the sake of argument, yes. But my question is, how can you determine that? Because if you're saying that that one footage made on Lake Pontchartrain is fake, how can you determine that the other one is real?
I can determine it myself with the skills what I've just told you, by here that we zoom out again, that this is following perspective.
Yeah, under the condition that it's a flat plane.
Yeah.
So wait again. So you start with the conclusion. You say this is a flat plane. Therefore, this footage works. Therefore, it's a flat plane. And that's the same thing you did in Riley's Hangout.
That is exactly what I am saying. And here I am telling you.
Wait. So you're saying you're admitting that your argument is circular?
No. You are really avoiding the context of these pylons here are not following perspective, and this.
Yes, I already showed that they did.
No, but
as a result of being on a flat, on a spherical surface, they show exactly what we expect if the surface is spherical, as I demonstrated. Well, not with a scale model, but whatever, and as Kara demonstrated.
So, what would you say is happening here?
I don't know. First of all, wait. Let me clarify. First of all, I don't know if this is the same zoom level as Soundly's is. I can't tell from the footage. because it looks like it isn't, but I won't say that it isn't until I've seen it in a better resolution. And I think the resolution is that you have on is more or less the best we can get. Second of all, I don't know 100% that it's the same power lines, so I can't tell if the distance between the foreground and the absolute background is the same.
Right.
So no, I can't tell 100% sure that this follows perspective. I can say 100% that this appears to be straight, because I don't know how the point where we would expect curvature to kick in the most would look like, because the video is not good enough.
Just here, before you said that that does sort of confirm to you that that is taken from the same angle as Soundly's.
I am not sure. Just give me a second. Actually, can you please zoom into the big pylon in the foreground? Let me just find it on Google Earth.
I'll make a point here again that this, if the atmospheric conditions, which you can see wobbling and bending stuff, were right, that atmospheric condition you can see on the other video that I could demonstrate, and I will be making a video on this, but that wobble is what you are seeing, the atmospheric conditions.
Can you play it a little further, maybe, the video?
This one here?
Yes,
yeah.
just let it run a bit. Is there a point where he drives past the power lines? There should be, right? No, there isn't. Okay. Because what I would like to see in this video is that when the power lines are aligned to each other, the power line, the power pylon, the first power pylon, the bigger one, isn't completely aligned. The two corners of it are 2 or 3 degrees off. So by comparing the angle that you would expect, we can determine if it's the same row of power lines.
I'm just literally going off absolute gut sense here that one thing is matching up with what I know about perspective. All of these are in a straight line. I know them to be a straight, exact same height, and they are following what I know to be perspective on a flat infinite plane in a modeling program. I know the world to be flat, and both
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Can I please make the point, though?
Yeah,
both
sure.
modeling program and what I am showing you in the real world are mirroring themselves, complementary. They are following what I've just shown, what I've explained. And here we can see on Soundly's video that his eye height actually passes, confirming that when you see this person is on the bridge, perspective, I've shown you with the little woman, with everything. I can show you with a big ship. I will tell you how high that ship will be. You can ask me to make a person of 20 foot, 30 foot, 40 foot and push it without measuring far into the distance. And I will tell you at what height that will come to another character that you can see. Even without judging, I don't need to know whether that person is 20 miles away. But if you ask me to make a 30-foot tall person and a 17-foot tall person, I could tell you where that person will be on the other person when they meet. That is perspective, and that is what is happening here. What I've said, I've proved here that the perspective is meeting. It is running linear with this beautiful flat plane that we live on. It is undeniable.
Yeah, no. As said, do you see how, let's say, washed out the picture gets where the interesting part is?
Yes, this is what I really want to go over. This.
Yeah, right. That's where I would like a better resolution.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't get one of me. I'm not a photographer.
Yeah, not of you, obviously, but from this footage, I simply can't tell whether what you're saying is right, that there's no curvature seen there whatsoever, because for the simple reason that the resolution isn't all right. In Soundly's footage, on the other side, it seems to be better.
I disagree with that, actually. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, for example, you can see that the Soundly's footage. You can see that the
just so you know, do you agree that that's compression?
Compression, hard to tell. Maybe I would have to look at the original footage.
This is Soundly's.
Yeah, I know. But for example, what you can see is that the part of the pylons where the it's hard to describe in English. Give me a second. I'm going to share it.
Yeah.
All right, you should be able to see my screen again. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, so this is soundless footage. For example, here you can see clearly the details of the power lines. I'm going to make it bigger. Can you still see it?
Yes.
It's full screen. It's full screen now. Can you see the full screen? All right. So, for example, you see that here there seems to be an alignment of the different metal bars that let it appear to be a little darker. You see that? And that continues until here. And here's the same one. You get this this line that is clearly that is a little darker. You can see that. You can't see anything like this in the other footage. If you zoom in, you can't, or at least you can less.
You can. It's there. That's the same compression. Compression where I don't really know much about this, but I know just what I've learned through Flat Earth. And
I don't think it's compression. It's just the resolution, the angular resolution of the camera. That's the problem.
Oh no, it's compression in the sense that there's a lot more pylons being compressed into a small space.
Yeah, right. Then it is the angular resolution. Because if the angular resolution of the camera would be better, you could see the individual pylons. They would still be behind each other, obviously, but you would see more detail.
Can I ask, what do you think you are seeing here?
I have no idea. As said, first of all, I'm not sure whether this is the same power line. I don't know if the distances match up.
Could I just suggest that what you are seeing here is a flat plane, proof of a flat plane, and that I've shown that this here, I could tell you that this is running with perspective, and what this tells me is that this is the eye height, and Soundly's video confirms that this is the eye height, and I have photos and everything else, more videos to go over to show you that any photo, and you could pass me photos, that all of them match a flat plane. And here on the model, that the only way you can really tell that a photo would work in reality is if you can somehow break away from it being 2D and examine it in its entirety. And this is what I've done. Here is a false perspective. This was the first picture which you took for real. I asked you at the beginning that this is the common zoom problem.
Yeah, but you forget something. You forget the fact that we know the distance between the towers.
Yes, but you forgot the point that I've made, that you don't need to know distance of anything. You do not need to know
Yes,
the
you do.
distance. No,
Yes, you do.
no,
Yeah. There are optical illusions which play exactly on the fact that you don't know the distance between the different objects.
no. How? I mean, lots of people understand perspective as art. You draw. There is a lot more to perspective where you can critically analyze a picture and gauge height, distance, depth, and how much a hill is sloping in front of you. That is very tricky for people to do if they don't understand it. They go about it with mathematics, but you can judge it from eye if you are using the horizon, and you know that horizon is personal to the observer. That is when I can make a claim and say this picture is wrong because this woman here, she should be at this height, and her elbow there, she should be there. Instantly, she should be there, and that tells me that she is far too big.
At which distance? You can't make that claim without knowing the distance.
No, this is why I've done this. This is what I've done, as in an undefined distance. There, we don't know the distance. We don't know the distance. Can you agree? I mean, that's what you're telling me. You do agree. We don't know the distance. And here on the 3D, we don't know the distance, but we can see that this distance is true. I can tell you that this band here, the woman's band, that when she comes to me, her eye level, my eye level will be at her band. When she walks up to me, that is what will be at my eye height. And here on Soundly's video, when Soundly crosses the bridge, even though that it's got that there, he crosses the bridge, his horizon, his eye height Is at the height that I've just shown you. I mean, I really think that it's blindingly
No, it's
obvious.
no, it's not. No, it's not.
I'll just make one more
Wait.
point then.
I already showed you that when you're starting from a surface, from a spherical surface, then the horizon must be lower than, in this case, the bottom of the pylon foundations.
Well,
And perspective-wise, you simply can't make the point that the horizon should be higher. You can't.
of course you can. This I will show you again.
No,
This is
because do we want to model this again a little more refined with my program or with a
wait.
different one?
Do we see this here? This horizon. What height is this woman now? She is eye level with me. She is eye level. Can you see how the camera, it looks distorted? I can wobble this any which way I want. Now, is this woman at my eye level? No, I am eye level with the tool bag that she's using. If this woman were to walk up to me, that tool bag is where would meet my eye level. Nothing else.
Yeah, but I think you forget the fact that on a spherical surface, the horizon isn't infinitely far away.
On a spherical surface. And really, I think that is a weak argument with this. This is your spherical surface. Look how spherical it is.
Look at all the other pictures that Soundly has made. How can you differentiate between this one and the other one?
I have pictures of real life situations where we can examine and show the exact same thing. Now, these are all pictures. Can you see these?
Yes.
These are all same real pictures. And here we can see bridge underneath.
Again,
Nothing meets
zoom
the
in, zoom
horizon.
into the middle.
Yep.
Further, further.
And that's the extent.
Yeah, so you can't determine it because the resolution isn't good enough.
No, but this resolution is absolutely brilliant, I think, for determining, because the resolution here, I'd agree with you, it's sketchy. How can we really know? Here, this notch and this notch and this notch is following a pattern. It's following a very distinct pattern, and that's perspective. It is 1 point perspective, and 1 point perspective is related to art, but it applies in the real world to human eyesight in that we get to see 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective.
Yes,
All
on a spherical surface.
yes, but this
Not
is
not
your
not on a
spherical
spherical
surface.
surface. Sorry, on a flat surface. But as I've demonstrated before, when you're on a spherical surface, that's not what you're going to expect. So why are you making the claim that this is what you should see on
Um,
a spherical surface, even if it's not what you expect to see? What you expect to see on a spherical surface is that when you're looking in a straight line along these power lines, that when you're in the eye level of, let's say, that second diamond, the middle of the second diamond, as you claim, or was it the bottom of the second diamond, whatever, that if you're looking through it, first of all, the towers are going to rise a bit. No, they're not going to rise.
no, yeah,
They're,
what
they're,
I'm
they're
saying is
going to
that
drop after a certain time, as modeled by my model. And that's what you expect on a spherical surface. Do you agree?
this is what you expect on a spherical surface if a spherical surface Earth existed. But this is obviously like the beautiful flat plane, and I think that this
No,
picture.
why obviously? I mean, let's say, for example, that both of these pictures were taken by the same guy at the same moment. How would you differentiate?
If they were in the exact same position, I could only differentiate and say that he's weighted. Atmospheric conditions have changed. What I mean is, I don't know whether he's slightly left or slightly right. Pulling that onto perspective at this, that could be determined, but is extremely difficult. You have to judge how close this tower is moving to this tower, and then you'd also have to know that I'm counting the right towers, because I might be judging this tower moving to this as the fifth and sixth, but we couldn't know it might be the seventh and eighth, and everything would be thrown off then. So a guaranteed way of doing it is just look at the horizon, and knowing things are straight, if you know they're straight, then that's it. It's an eyeball thing. Not many people know this. I will admit that. It is something that I do know because I have looked into perspective. This is what it does. You can determine height by judging. If you know the height of this tower, I don't know the height of this tower. All I know is that it's that notch there. I can
60
just,
meters or so, I think.
yep. Well, you know that I think I've quite fairly proven that that is eye height, and that eye height is matching the horizon, and that the eye height is the personal horizon. It is your horizon, or obviously the person from this camera's viewpoint horizon. And
Well,
Soundly's video,
wait. That personal horizon thing
yep,
on on a flat surface.
you
The
agree that
horizon will be on eye level for everyone. Do you agree?
on a, no, the horizon will be at different heights for their eye level.
No, because eye level per definition is 90 degrees from right below you.
No, that's your Masonic thing. Look here, you see.
No. Wait, eye level simply means that it's perpendicular to up and down. That's all.
Yep. Well, that's what you're being told. But what I'm going to show you is this eye
No,
level.
no. That's not what I'm being told. That's the result of.
But you know that you're on
Well,
a flat Earth argument, and that we are actually like challenging the entire establishment.
yeah,
So,
but eye level has a geometrical definition that is not changeable.
but we have a geometrical model here, which I can show you that this woman here, it is her eye level. And now, do we need to see her move towards us to confirm that it's eye level? No, this character here is a little child now. Just imagine that. I'm not tricking you. This isn't an illusion like the other one. She's genuinely there. She's genuinely smaller. We can call her a child. This is eye level for her. Her eye level
Yes, but the horizon still is
is
identical.
here. No,
I agree that there are different eye levels in the sense of different heights over the
yes,
surface,
okay,
but
but what
eye level for the individual persons means nothing different than 90 degrees from up and down.
of course it does. This will prove it now. Now, eye level for this woman here, there, she's eye level. When she comes to me, she will be eye level. If I pull this towards me, this is going to be above me. It's taller than me. I can see this now because of the tricks that I know. Now,
Yeah,
this
but wait,
person here, this little child, is she going to see this relative to this horizon? Is this the position that is going to be on the horizon for this child? Will it fall at this position? Is this child right now, right this minute, is she seeing the horizon here? Is this what this child is seeing?
I don't know the distance to the object.
You don't need to know that, and put it down to her eye level and show you that she's seeing more of that. She's smaller and she is seeing more of that.
Yes, but the horizon is still on the eye level. That's the point.
No, the
Yeah,
horizon is on
obviously.
her eye level.
Do you agree? Do you agree that the horizon is 90 degrees from up and down?
Like 90 degrees, that's horizontal.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Yes.
horizontal.
Yeah, that's all that eye level means.
No.
Yes, eye level means nothing else. And you can ask anyone in the chat. Eye level means nothing else than 90 degrees from bottom or tops for up and down. Eye level means nothing else than horizontal from your point of view. Not tilted upwards or downwards. That's all eye level means.
Yeah, but I think you're skating around like definitions of things now, though.
And no, you were the one that changed that.
No, because do you agree that this person here does not share the same horizon as this person?
Yeah, they share the same horizon. Well,
No.
the horizon itself is identical. Just the position as seen from the different people
You are really
of
missing
objects.
the point.
Wait. Let me make my point. The horizon itself is identical for both people. What is different is the parent position of objects that are closer than the horizon. Do you agree?
No, you're sort of losing me.
The horizon itself is for both people at 90 degrees from bottom or top. Agreed?
Yeah.
All right. So the horizon itself is identical. Agreed?
As in, I'll agree, as in a floor. A floor, if I now put a floor here, this is relative to them.
No.
In that sense.
What I'm saying is that for both people, the horizon, meaning the point where the point that is the farthest away, the vanishing point, if you want to call it, is for both people at 90 degrees from bottom or top. Agreed?
Not a clue really what you're hinting at. The horizon, line of sight, if you're looking straight, then it's
Wait,
horizontal.
I'm gonna model it. You should be able to see it. I don't think we need this anymore. I will delete it. All right, so we have the ground. We have person A. Shit. And we have person. And we have person B. Okay. So let's just say that the plane is not infinite. That it's not infinite, remember?
Yep.
Okay, that means that the horizon for this, so this is where the plane ends, right? Here, right there.
Yep.
So that means that the horizon for this person is there, and for this person is there. Now, under that condition, both are looking downwards, but with different angles. Agreed?
Yep.
Okay. What will happen if we extend this line? If the flat plane gets longer?
The sight's going to go even more horizontal.
Yes. So what is the end result?
What do you mean the end result?
Yeah, when we extrapolate this to infinity, what happens?
They're seeing that you can pull this and you're pulling their personal horizons. You pull that to the right and them lines will straighten out.
So both lines in the end will be perpendicular to the surface.
What you're describing there is that person there is looking 200 foot in front and then they're looking 300
Right.
foot in front, 400 foot, 500.
In the end, if this plane is infinite, both lines will be parallel and they will be looking like this, right?
Yes.
Because the downward looking angle will be smaller. That means that the horizon for both people will be identical.
No, because
Yes.
you've already pointed out that when you have them down here.
No, as said, the horizon is identical. Now, it happened again. Why does this happen all the time? So now we have another object. Red, green, let's take blue. So, as said, the horizon will be identical for both people. The only thing that's going to happen is that the relative position, as seen from both people, of the same object will change. So in this case, for this person, for the smaller person, the top of the object will be above the horizon, and for this person, the top of the object will be below the horizon. The horizon itself, on the other hand, is identical. And for both people, it will be at 90 degrees from upwards or downwards.
I'll just make a point here before I even go on that them horizontal lines there are also following a horizontal infinite plane which we live on. And this is why all the illusions that you can't comprehend that I can explain and can make accurate judgments on all pictures, on all footage, on everything, because what you are now, you understand how perspective works. I know you understand how perspective works, and now I'm getting a little confused at how you can't accept that there is no distortion on the other one that is showing a perfectly straight, perfectly, arguably, visibly, perfectly straight set of pylons.
I don't think I know what your point is.
I know that you don't know what my point is. I think that's pretty much all that
So,
I'd like to say.
yeah, I mean, the first point that I was making was the most important one. That you said that the model you described would also work on a spherical surface. And do
Yeah.
you agree that I showed you that that was wrong?
Yes.
All right, that was the important point. Because in the Hangout, you said that the model would be working on a globe. And
Yes.
would you correct that in one of Riley's next Hangouts?
I'll correct that right here now and saying that I've definitely made a mistake in assuming just forward sight going over a curve. To highlight that, I've been narrow-minded saying it's a cylinder. You have to have a X and Y curve, and Car has modeled that. It looks flat, right? It does look flat, but I know that Cara modeled it correctly. So there is a left and right curve. When I take that into account, I know that if I stood above a ball in real life and there was just a little bit of dirt on it, that you would see the dirt higher than the arc that you were looking down.
All right.
But
Um,
we don't see this. And this is why this supports me, or I believe it supports me, because we are not seeing what was expected. If this was the first video, Soundly's video would have been a lot. Well, I think this was the first. It's like
yeah,
the
it
date
might be the first one. I don't know.
Um, I'm happy to claim that this entire world is flat and that everything that they are feeding is loaded lies, because I know how to judge perspective myself on CAD, on systems, in the real world, and I knew that this would match up before I've tried. That is how I'm confident enough to come on and say it, that I can find Soundly's eye level, and his eye level is matching up with a very clear image of a very, very, very straight punch train, which is in direct conflict to what Soundly shows. And not only is it showing the most extreme curve that anybody has seen, but I have pointed extremely valid points which any CAD designer can test. Any artist that does know perspective will know that I am not making up these points, that you can assess height from judging perspective. You can assess observer height, you can assess many things just from having static straight objects in the frame.
All right. We're now at 90 minutes. I am not planning to go for much longer, at least not for the one versus one. In Riley's Hangout, or to be more exact, in the comments, you said that you would be ready to do a Q&A with the live chat.
Yes.
All right, so I've just taken a look at the live chat, and there are some questions that arise or arose. First of all, give me a second. I've wanted to mark them, but for some reason I've lost it. Give me a second. Yeah, someone wants to know if you actually know what the mathematical definition of the law of perspective is.
The mathematical, no.
Well, it basically describes a relation between distance of an object from the observer, the angular size, and the actual size. I would have to look it up as well. I don't know it by heart, but I could reconstruct it. I think I've done it live with Anthony once.
Yeah, I don't know that, but what I do know is that I'm very, very terrible at maths, but there is enough knowledge. I have enough knowledge to know how to model the exact curvature of the Earth, the exact dimensions. I know how to model literally anything in CAD systems other than that, as in just modeling sense. And really, I would say 100% that I am right on my observations of perspective in how it is reacting. As in, all you have to do is look and assess. Once I know the basics of it and they are matching reality, once I have confirmation that It's matching reality, matching what I expect to see, and CAD proves it, that I have an infinite plane to work with. When the two match up, I am happy to call the two exactly the same, what we're seeing. Add to that all of the shite that you see with NASA. The other videos that I have with definitely showing that a hotspot cannot be produced on top of a planet. It should be lighting the whole side.
If you want to discuss this, we can do it another time.
Yeah,
Because
right,
I think I didn't have a space discussion with someone yet, except for the Discover satellite.
that's
So,
fine. Yeah, I'll leave them points. Yeah.
all right. So another question from the side chat. Someone wants to know why or why you think that the horizon actually drops below eye level the further up you go.
I don't think it drops below eye level the further up you go, and I've seen evidence to support that it doesn't drop further up you go. And
Have you seen Rhetoric and Discourse's Theodolite app video? Basically, all he does is he takes a Theodolite app that is something you can load into your smartphone and checks how far below eye level the horizon is on a commercial flight. And it matches up more or less perfectly with what is predicted by mathematics.
yeah, I've seen lots of stuff on the theodolites, and really, I don't trust them.
You don't trust Theodolites.
No,
Why?
the people using them, and I don't have one
The
myself.
people using them. I mean, there's literally nothing to do wrong with it. You load the app on your smartphone and you point it towards the horizon. That's all.
On the exact same point, there's literally nothing to stop you confirming that this is straight. There is literally nothing. I think, and I would state that what is happening here is serious cognitive dissonance.
What has that to do with my question regarding the Theodolites?
The fact that I don't trust the people, if they are doing that in the search of flat Earth, when I know for myself that I have proof. You can call this is cognitive dissonance on my side. I wouldn't care, because I have visual proof here, and you are asking me just to trust an instrument, not to trust my eyes. What I can
You're using a camera right there. That's also an instrument.
Yes, but what did I say? If I took this picture myself, if I moved the camera away from my face, what image would I still expect to see? It wouldn't be zoomed in, but these would be at the exact same height as
Yes,
they are.
yes, but the point is that instruments are far more reliable usually and far more accurate definitely as human senses are.
If this was curving, these would not follow the horizon. This is your globe that I am using for proof.
Zoom more in, and I think they would. But whatever. Next question.
Right, yeah.
Just give me a second. A question by Richard Brumby, leveled out. Do you think your trust really matters in the grand scheme of things?
Trust. And repeat the question.
Do you think your trust really matters in the grand scheme of things? Is it pronounced scheme? I don't know. Yeah, scheme.
Well, I'm not really sure what if I understand the question, but I'm just going to say something on it. Do people trust what I am showing them? Do people trust that this is replicating what you've seen me replicate on CAD? Does this look, is it matching? Am I making this up? Do you trust me? Do you trust that I have explained and have valid points? Really, if you don't trust it, I don't know what you're going to trust. Here we can see that I will point out where the atmospheric condition is bending. Here it's bending. Right there, this is glass water that you are looking at. It is a reflection, and the reflection happens at roughly the same spot here, but because of possibly temperature, I'll zoom in, because of temperature, we can see that it's not being totally obscured. That land there is still there. That
Okay,
video
and another question by Kara. I just want a quick Q&A because we could go above every point for decades, and I think you wouldn't still reach a result. So Kara Diane, whatever, asks, why is it when you trace the bottom and top of the towers in Soundly's footage, I think, to the vanishing point is above the horizon, and she's supplied me with a link that I'm going to send you right now.
Yep.
From Curved Water 5.
Are you sharing my screen now?
I should be, yeah. Oh no, I'm not. Now I am.
Here, I've never seen this picture before, and it is matching. The curved lines are matching where I say his eye height is. This is the actual horizon. They now are seeing proof that the true convergence isn't matching. This is the eye height. This is Soundly's eye height. And they have nicely placed the horizon there for me. That is where I claimed it is. That is where they claim it is. And I have footage showing it at that level. I have footage. It isn't my footage, it's at Johnny Ook's footage, but I think he's absolutely amazing for doing it.
All right. So I think we've had enough questions. Do you want to stay for the after show hangout, or do you want to leave? Because my plan is usually what I do in the end of Hangouts is basically invite everyone who watched or who wants to join into the Hangout to have a chat.
I'll get off for now. I could join you again, though, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have to find another date. In the next few weeks, I'm occupied, so it would take some time. But yeah, sure. I mean, if you want another Hangout, we can do it.
Yep, I will, because I can see the comments now saying, yeah, he's retarded. And that. If people, honestly, if you can't understand what I'm saying, then there's really not much. I am going to be making a video on this. That's a guarantee, and to go into much, much more depth. And the majority of the video is going to be footage, cross-referenced with exact angles and the exact explanation of how to fight.
I have to interrupt you shortly. Ranty is spamming in the chat. He posted the same comment like 5 times, so I temporarily blocked him.
Right.
I just want to have that verbally to be in the Hangout, so he can't claim that there was no reason to ban him.
No, yeah, yeah.
All right. So again, if you want to do another Hangout, we can do it. And I'm going to open the Hangout now. So starting with, to everybody in the chat, who wants to join? One final question. Where exactly are you from? Because I can't identify that accent.
Me, Newcastle.
Yes, Newcastle.
Yeah.
That's in Northumberland, isn't it?
Yeah, the northeast side.
Yeah. I had a vacation in Berwick up in Tweed a decade or so ago. But what?
Did you like it?
Well, I think yeah, it was kind of weird, but generally I did enjoy it. Yes. I spent most of the time in Scotland, anyways. The hotel was in Berwick, and we were basically driving every day across the border to visit some castles.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So.
Right. Wait, I'll get off now and.
Okay.
Sort stuff out. I'm actually going to go for a drink.
Thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you for letting me do it.
It's been a pleasure.
Right. Thanks, Al. See ya.
See you. Oh God, that was tiring. So the link. Kara, you should have already received it. Sly, maybe. Soundly, obviously.
Sound check.
Hi, I can understand you. Sound is all right.
So, I didn't see the whole thing, but from what I gathered, he seems to think that the horizon isn't actually where it's observed.
Yes, he made the claim that the horizon is actually a good part higher than what is seen.
Gosh, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's what I more or less told him. But my argument that I made, for example, regarding that his model didn't work on a spherical surface, didn't really change his opinion whatsoever.
Well, I don't see how it worked on a flat Earth.
I don't know either.
Like, when are they going to build a model? When are they going to build the model that matches our observations? Because we already have, and the globe is what does that.
Probably never.
So
Anyone? Wait
it seems
just a
silly to
second.
me that
Anyone else who wants to join? I just copy the link into the chat room. Don't snipe us. Okay. Anthony, do you maybe want to join?
Hey, nerds.
takes
Hello,
$5 million.
Hey, I'm a geek. Get it right. Kara, to answer your question before, they're never going to make a model. They're never even going to attempt one.
No, they're just going to deny ours. Every time we make a model that matches the observation, they're like, nope, that can't be right because the Earth is flat.
Just regarding this guy, it sounded to me he doesn't understand the difference between apparent size and actual size.
Maybe. It's hard. That's hard.
I can't tell it.
Seeing as I guess he assumed. So correct me if I got this wrong, but it sounded to me like he assumed that just looking at something and measuring its size, like its apparent size, means you can figure out exactly how big things are, which, like, regardless of distance, which doesn't even make sense. Or in the reverse, you can judge distance based on how big things look.
Yeah, I think that's more or less what he tried to say, because when he had that two different rows of the two people of the different sizes on, I immediately told him that it was hard to determine whether the different sizes would match up because I didn't know the distance between the different objects. So I think what he's saying is that you can determine the distance based on the sizes without actually knowing the actual sizes.
Yeah, so he doesn't know. It doesn't seem to know the difference between apparent size and actual size.
It looks like yes. And he couldn't answer the question how the law of perspective works, or what the law of perspective is.
Which,
I mean, not necessarily the mathematical formula, just what it says in general.
yeah, which is kind of odd, claiming, or since his final statement or ending statement or closing statement was that I know enough about this shit to tell if something is up.
Yep.
Like, no, you don't. You really, really don't. I'm sorry.
He knows nothing. And one would even say Jon Snow knows more than him.
Yes. If we dare venture that far.
I mean, I've gotten closer alignments than this, and like to where every single tower lines up.
That's beautiful. Wait, I'm going to share your screen. Okay.
I think I've offered this before, but if I haven't, it'll be valid from now on. So if you're not married, Kara, I'll happily offer you my hand.
Sorry, it's long distance.
Aw. I
can't do long distance marriage. Sorry.
I had hopes.
Gosh, I thought I had. But let's have another image here.
At least he admitted that he's wrong about one point, which I didn't think honestly he would.
Well, it makes him better than most of them.
Yeah, actually it does, yes.
And the ability to admit that one is or potentially could be wrong is huge.
So this is a flat Earth model.
Better than
This is
most
what
of them.
that looks like.
Yeah, actually it does. Yes.
You can't make this fit this. It just doesn't work.
No, but
That
you see,
cannot fit this. Like, you see the ground behind the towers because there's nothing obscuring the ground. You can see the bottom of the tower here. You can see the top of the tower there. There's nothing obscuring them.
But
These very clearly they are.
but
You
you
can even
clearly
see
don't
where the
understand
mirage
perspective.
line is. Like, this tells you where the horizon is. Where if I take this image, if I take that red line, that's the horizon right there. It's like right there. You see it mirror across. You can see
But
where the
Kara,
mirage starts. So that's where
you're
the water's
forgetting
at.
you're forgetting about the atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere is what causes all of the curvature to appear anyways.
The atmosphere would lift it higher.
No, but you clearly don't understand perspective the way I do. So you're
Okay.
wrong.
No, you're wrong. You're
No,
wrong,
you.
Housewife.
No, you.
No, you're wrong.
No, you. Don't hurt my feelings.
Perspective. Line goes to vanishing point. Line goes to vanishing point. Perspective. Doesn't work for this one. Oh, here's the alignment that I got. It's very nearly.
Yep, that's almost perfect.
I mean, what more do you want, flat tards? Seriously. Like, that's where the horizon is. You can see it's slightly above the observed horizon in this image. It is very slightly above it because there's a mirage happening on the water surface. But once you're beyond the water surface, once you're higher than the water surface, which is effectively where above this horizon line, everything matches. In fact, we actually are seeing some refraction here. You can see the end towers lift up a little bit, and that's from the refraction. But they're still curving. Like, what's not to understand? That's why I'm so tired of these people, because it's like you can show them absolute evidence, complete evidence that we're correct, and they will just deny it. They'd rather say the birds observed in the footage is CGI than accept that the footage is real.
That's another one of the claims. That one was really horrible.
Yeah, that's
I liked
Anthony Riley for you.
Yeah, the hangout you guys did, was it last weekend or whatever, Joe? I listened to it on my way home.
Yeah, the one with Renty and
Riley.
and Riley, yeah.
Yeah, where they essentially said that because someone had made a CGI version that fit, it meant it couldn't be trusted.
Yeah, they basically complained that our model is too good.
Yeah, it's like, so someone has made a model that fits what the round Earth would look like, and it fits perfectly. Therefore, it's fake. It's like, I'm sorry. What? That's honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
If the model wasn't to the level that it is, then the predictions that would come from it would mean shit. I mean, the fact that the model is as accurate as it is what allows us to predict what is going to happen with certain movements of celestial bodies and what should be expected to be seen and happen in freaking reality. And then, oh my God, it matches up. Holy shit. It's not a bad thing for it to be so accurate. It's actually a good thing. Every time I hear him say that, I want to drown them. Slowly.
What I think is funny is I can use the same model to match the horizon, the curvature of the horizon for a particular field of view for all the balloon footage out there.
Oh,
So it's like it's a double purpose model.
Kara, can you explain to Ranty quickly what the scale of your model right now is? Because apparently he thinks it's a 200-meter ball.
It's a 200-meter ball. Okay, let me just snuff that out really quick. Let's just create a sphere. I'm gonna make the scale of that sphere 3959 times 2. So that's miles. 3959 times 2. Or 7918. Right, so I made a sphere. Put a scene view. Let's take that sphere. Move it over. Let's take my Earth. Let's make sure that it's drawing the entire surface of that part. Turn on these two. Actually, you know what?
Is it radius or diameter?
Yeah, I guess it gives me a 2-meter. Oh no, I had it right. What the frick? That's not good. Okay, I had it right the first time. They're the same size. So that is a sphere with a diameter of 7,918 meters. This is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles. So it's a scale model. And I can go as far as to zoom in all the way on this thing.
I think this is what's known in the chess world as checkmate.
Yahtzee.
Ranty, do you maybe want to join to defend your claim?
It's bingo.
Mount Everest is right there. You can't see it. It's too freaking small. I mean, you can see a little speck. Like, it's small. But yes, this is a scale model. Units are miles. The units in Unity are entirely arbitrary, just like they are in real world. Like a mile is an arbitrary length of unit versus a kilometer, an inch, or a millimeter, or a light year. It doesn't matter. So I've just decided 1 unit in Unity is 1 mile, and I've stuck to it, and I built the model around that scale. So I don't know what else you want.
So what I hear you saying is scale matter. Scale matters.
Scale matters. And then I have it drawing a restricted part just so that I get lots of polygons in a smaller section of the Earth. And if I tie the camera to this, it also draws a green line which represents the horizon, which shows up in this view. So if I make this brighter, if I do red. You can kind of see it there. not very evident.
So again, Ranty, do you want to join? No answer yet. I don't think he will do it.
It's funny how facts tend to shut people up. Just, yeah.
Why could that be?
I don't know. I guess it's like magnets. No one knows.
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
Magic. But not just any magic. Sky Daddy magic.
Oh, completely off topic, but do you guys watch Fool Us with Penn and Teller?
What?
Yeah, I've seen that. The magic show where they have people try to fool them. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they manage to fool them, they get to be in their Vegas show. So the only reason I'm saying this is because magic, and the first episode of this season had on a blind card mechanic. I shit you not, he's blind, and he did this is something everyone should look up. Just the first episode of this season of Penn and Teller, and I believe it was the first act. He's blind and he does card shit that you will not believe. So yeah, go have a look at that for some actual proper magic happening in real life.
Cool. Yeah, I need to check it out. Sounds awesome.
Hey, look, my model matches the curvature for a non-fisheye lens shot by a flat-tard.
Who would have thought? It's a shame that my balloon crashed, but I have to try it again. Did
Why
you
did
guys
it crash?
So what happened is that we had a clear sky the entire day, and filling the balloon with helium took a little longer than we thought, and it started to rain right at the start. So we think that the extra weight of the water on top of the helium balloon pushed it down into a barley field. We recovered everything, so we can try again, but we have to get all the permissions the second time, which is kind of annoying. But I know, at least we now know what the problem is. Or was.
When did you actually launch it? I guess I saw the update with it failing, but I don't know what the launch.
We launched it one day before that. I think we launched it on a Saturday. The problem is that the launch site is 500 kilometers away approximately from where I live, because it's another state and the rules are slightly different.
Yeah.
So what I did is we drove up there like at 2 a.m. or so in the morning on Saturday, arrived at 8 a.m. and started building everything. Launched about 12 or something. So right in the middle of the day, and that's when it started to rain. We waited about 1 hour and then recovered this thing after we saw that the GPS tracker didn't show any movement anymore. And yeah, and then drove back basically. So that was kind of annoying. And the first thing I did when I arrived home was upload the video, the first one at least. So if it was uploaded on Sunday, which it probably was, then the launch was on Saturday. 1 week ago.
That's actually the same day I headed south towards France.
Okay. If you want to know, we were a few kilometers east of Berlin.
Okay, no, I think the closest I got was Hamburg.
All right. Which route did you take to France? Through Belgium or through Germany?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually, you would take the ferry to Denmark, then drive down the A7 to Hamburg, and then probably further, maybe to Frankfurt, and then the A5 southwards. In the direction of France. I mean, it obviously depends where in France your destination is.
In Paris. So
Paris, all right.
Yeah, we drove to Hanover and or past Dortmund through Belgium and crossed over right next to Lille.
Okay.
in Paris.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know if that has been the best choice because I would have tried to stay in Germany as long as possible. So
Yeah.
maybe the route via Frankfurt and then Saarbrücken would have been better.
Yeah, no, we'd go this way like on purpose. So
Okay.
yeah. It's kind of funny. It takes me about the same time to cross Norway as it takes to drive from Germany to Norway because the speed difference.
Yeah. And as far as I remember, the highways in the north of Germany are rather shitty.
Yeah,
At least the A7.
Yeah, no, it's getting better. Like they're doing construction work on it, obviously.
Is it already 3 lanes? I haven't been there for like 5 or 6 years.
A lot of it is, yes.
Oh, that was overdue.
But there's still a lot of 2 lanes.
Yeah, for some reason they didn't upgrade the A7 completely yet. They did it with the A9 and the A2 because those are the ones that had to be renovated after the end of the Cold War and the reunification, obviously. But for some reason, the other ones, the A8, the A6, and mainly the A7, they didn't do anything. That's kind of annoying because all the construction prior was done in the 80s and the tarmac is starting to come off, which is kind of crappy.
Yeah, it's a lot of raw concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they've changed to tarmac again because although it doesn't hold as long, usually the driving quality is better.
Yeah.
It's still better though than the old Eastern Germany lines. Usually they were made of concrete blocks, so every 10 meters or so you would feel.
Yeah, like clunk, clunk, clunk,
yeah,
clunk.
Yeah, that was so typical.
Yeah. There's part of that still on the A7.
No, not on the A7. That's impossible. The A7 didn't pass through Eastern Germany.
No. It's no. It's there's some side roads that crosses between. I think it's A2 and A7. Some 2-lane ways that has concrete blocks that you can hear like chug every few meters.
Yeah, that's possible. But it was really crap in Eastern Germany because back then the speed limit there was 100 kilometers per hour. And the cars that they produced over there barely didn't reach that.
Yeah.
So there was no reason to build a better quality highway system. And until like 3 years ago, still a part of the A9, for example, between Munich and Berlin was in that condition. So when you try to drive from Munich to Berlin, you would have a 3-lane highway for 250 kilometers or so until you reach the former inner German border. And then afterwards, usually the speed limit was 80 because higher speed limits would damage the cars for like 300, 400 kilometers until you would reach Berlin.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was crappy.
No, the furthest east I've been is actually well, Hamburg is technically more east, I guess, but I've been in Hanover and Frankfurt, but I haven't been east of that.
Well, both of them are actually in the western half. Both culturally, obviously, and geographically.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't think I've ever been actually in the eastern part.
Well, you didn't really miss anything, to be honest.
Well, it's Germany is mostly just like flat anyway. Until you get to the southwestern.
No. As soon as you're more south than, I don't know, Kassel, you will see that mountain ridges are starting.
Yeah, around between Köln and Frankfurt, there's some.
Yeah, Köln and Frankfurt, but basically the entire southern half of Germany looks like that area.
Yeah.
Except for the Alpenvorland, which is between the Danube River and Munich, basically. Because that's the area where in the last ice age, basically the glaciers flattened everything.
Okay, yeah. But it's still more hilly than Denmark. Denmark is like the most boring place ever to drive.
yeah, I remember. And although they have better highways than we do, for some reason they have a speed limit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they have the same roads as Germany do, but
yeah, I think it's just a cultural thing.
Yeah. And then you come to Norway, and the max you can go is 80. Just like, okay, thanks, I guess.
Are there any highways? Or I don't know how the infrastructure in Norway is, so.
From the capital to the Swedish border, there's some highways that are essentially the same as the autobahn, and they have the maximum speed limit is 110, and that's
not too bad.
That's the only place in the country that actually is the case, though. Everywhere else, the maximum speed limit is 80, with some exceptions having 90. And most is 70 or lower.
Is that maybe because of the harsh winters?
Sort of, yes. So a lot of it is old infrastructure, and the roads are full of sharp, blind turns, and the winter wreaks havoc on the roads. So maintaining a level of standard that would allow a higher speed limit just isn't feasible in many places.
Yeah, I mean, the question is if a higher speed limit in winter would even make sense, or if the accident rate would go through the roof.
No, I think most of us have enough respect for the winter conditions. Like it's kind of so. Places in Germany and Belgium and Denmark, I saw signs that said like slippery when snowy or slippery when wet, and I was like,
yes.
Do people really need to get reminded of that? Because that's a given here.
Usually that is only done in places where the condition of the asphalt is bad, or where the asphalt is kind of not very grippy. So it's not always given. It's just in really extreme cases.
Yeah, because here it's essentially, if it's not bright sun in the middle of June, July, it's slippery. That's
yeah. All right. So you're not in the 2 days of summer that you get.
No, but only for those 2 days. You can be a maniac. Obviously, you get fined insane, but that's actually something I looked up while driving. So the highest speed ticket you can get in Denmark, I don't remember how it is in Germany, but the highest speeding ticket you can get in Denmark is lower than the second or the third rate of tickets you can get here, and our highest ticket is nearly 3 times as high, and it's for less speeding.
What kind of amount are we talking?
Around 110 euros. No, 100,000. Saying 1,100 euros.
1,100 euros. Yeah, that's high.
Yeah, but
yeah, there's this really funny fact that if you are tailgating someone on the autobahn, the fine may be actually higher than if you would go to the right side to the emergency lane and overtake them there.
Well, tailgating is dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It really is, especially at high speeds.
Yeah, we had multiple accidents, and it was largely because of trucks pulling out in the left lane to overtake other trucks, while people 50, 160. So you're doing like twice their speed, and they're just pulling out. Yeah,
twice their speed or even more. Usually in Germany, the maximum speed that any vehicle above 7.5 tons, no, more than 3.5 tons may do, is 80 kilometers an hour. The exception are buses, which have a special permission to go to 100 kilometers per hour.
The same is for caravans if they have
no special. Yeah, right. They can go to 100 kilometers an hour under special conditions.
Yes.
And it's also the case for motorcycles with these side wagons, I think.
Oh, they're speed restricted as well?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, yes.
Okay. I don't think they are here.
Yeah, because no one is suicidal enough to go to a higher speed.
But
the point that I'm trying to make is the maximum amount of speed that a 40-ton truck is going to have will be around 85 to 90 kilometers per hour when going down the hill.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Now,
our trucks are actually locked at 80 or 89.
Mike, yeah, usually they are here as well, but I don't think they lock automatically or they brake automatically when going downhill. The driver still has to manually do that.
That's the case here as well.
Now, My car, which is kind of standard, can do 230 kilometers an hour, and I
Yes.
regularly drive it at that speed. Well, not the entire time, obviously, just for a few minutes to
when
check if
restrictions
everything is
are.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily when there are no restrictions. You can't drive your car full speed even if there are no restrictions. That's just the case if there's literally no one on the road.
Yeah.
And obviously the conditions have to be good. In rain, anything about 150, 160 might be dangerous depending on how much rain there is.
Hydroplaning is dangerous.
Yeah, it's massively dangerous. But the point that I'm making, if you're driving full speed, you're almost 3 times faster than the trucks.
Yeah.
And that is insane.
Yeah, and they tend to just go like, nah, whatever, he'll brake, and just turn the steering wheel.
Yep.
We had multiple near accidents like that on the way back home.
Yeah, there's currently legislation going on that might forbid trucks over a certain size to overtake on 2-lane roads, which I would support.
Yes, but they should also have. So one of the things they've actually tried to get into effect here is have vehicles above, I think it's above all the way down to 3.5 ton, be allowed to use bus lanes, just to get them out of the main traffic.
Yeah, all right. They don't do that here.
No.
Bus lanes are bus lanes.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think taxis are allowed to use them, but everything else, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Except for electric cars.
Yeah, they get a pass here too. Like they get everything for free. Free parking, no payment on toll roads.
Nice. I mean that's most likely the best way to push them.
Yeah, that's also why we have like you said, you check the stats. I
got 25 or 26% of all cars are at least plug-in hybrids in Norway.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So it's they're taking over. I think we're still Tesla's biggest market. Like,
yeah, you are.
Norway buys more Teslas than I think all of America's combined or something. It's quite insane.
We're too busy buying like oversized pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then remove the diesel particle.
You're not a man.
You remove the diesel particle filters and then blow it into the faces of Prius drivers.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't get these people. Are they literally demonstrating against clean air?
I guess. It's actually, the funny thing is, so I always confuse what they're actually called in English, but I think it's called an 18-wheeler or a tractor trailer thingy, like a semi-truck. You know what I mean.
Yeah. The big ones.
I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. All of them are good.
Yeah, mine actually produces cleaner air than it takes in if I'm stuck in traffic because of the Euro 6 engines. Like the air pollution is higher from the intake air of the engine than it is at the exhaust. So
it isn't made by VW, is it?
No, it's Mercedes.
All right. Yeah, some people forget that VW actually builds semi-trucks under the MAN brand.
Yeah, I know. Which is so.
Which, by the way, stands for Maschinenfabrik Augsburg Nuremberg. So yeah, in Nuremberg.
Oh, that's actually what it stands for?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It means Machine Factory Augsburg Nuremberg.
Nice. Now they actually up here there's some everyone that drives Scania trucks, they're essentially like a religious cult, right? Scania is the only thing that works. Everything else is garbage. And they here in Norway, the MAN is said to stand for Mangler alt nødvendig, which translates to lacks all that is necessary, or all necessities. Yeah, while people that actually know trucks say they're among the best. So what do I know? I drive a Mercedes.
An E-Class, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes. Which is a nice Autobahn cruiser.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if it's a diesel. Is it
Yeah,
a diesel?
no, it's not.
Oh damn.
Yeah,
Usually,
unfortunately.
if you want a good car to drive on the highway for hours, you want a diesel for two reasons. First of all, the fuel economy is better at high speeds.
Yep.
My car eats about 10 liters per 100 kilometers as soon as it's faster than 150 kilometers per hour. And the other reason is that they are simply more silent because the rotational speed, the RPM, is much lower in diesels.
Yep. And so I drove a California, the Volkswagen.
Oh yeah, which generation?
It's I don't know what generation. It's an 08.
Did it still have the engine in the back?
No, this has the engine in the front.
All right, then it's a T4 or T5.
Yeah. So it's.
Do you know what engine was in there? Was it a 5-cylinder, by the way?
It's a 2.5 5-cylinder.
Yeah, then it's probably a T5, the first of the three iterations.
It's like 180 horsepower. I don't remember the torque of it.
Yeah, whatever.
But that thing, like on the Autobahn, doing like 130, 140, 150.
You can drive it at 180 if you want to.
Yeah, but it's like
a friend of mine has similar machine. This one was also diesel. You always underestimate the VW trucks.
Oh no! I don't underestimate them. I'm just saying, like, going that speed, cruising along at 2,500 RPM, and you can't hear the engine. All you hear is wind noise.
Yep.
Just hovers, like swooshing over because it's a soft ride.
Yeah, and the 5-cylinders are also awesome because they are much smoother than 4-cylinders.
Yeah.
At least most of the time. You can't really feel the difference to a 6-cylinder, in my opinion, but to a 4-cylinder, definitely, yeah.
And they're actually, like, I dare say it, they actually don't sound bad when you give it full throttle either, the 5-cylinder diesel.
Yeah, the big advantage of the 5-cylinders is that you can mount them not longitudinal, but quer. I need to look it up. Give me a second.
I know what you mean, but I don't remember the word in English.
It's transverse.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't do that with a 6-cylinder, at least not with a straight 6, because they're simply too long.
Yeah, you can do it with
the 5-cylinders usually fit where 4-cylinders fit, but 6-cylinders no. You would need a V6, and I hate V6.
Or a flat 6.
Or a flat 6. But good luck mounting a flat 6 transversely.
Yeah. That's a whole different basket of problems.
Yeah. I think, do you know any cars that use flat 6 engines apart from Porsche?
Yeah, Subaru.
Are you sure that's 6-cylinders? I think usually they have 4-cylinders.
It's mostly 4-cylinders, but you can get the Forester and the there's one more that has 6-cylinder engines.
Maybe
I know
the strongest version of the Impreza.
Yeah, at some point the Impreza was 6-cylinder. It had the same engine as the Forester, I think.
All right.
But now at least the Impreza is 4-cylinder. But I'm pretty sure that's only 4-cylinder now. But I think the Forester is still 6.
Yeah, I only knew the Impreza as a 4.
Yeah, the only Subaru I've ever driven was a Forester, but that one I think had a flat 4 as well.
Yeah, the biggest one, the was it like 2.8 or 3 liter or whatever, was a 6. My dad's friend had one. I've driven it, so at least here you got it with a 6.
Do you know the VR6 engines by VW?
Yeah.
And do you know that there also was a VR5 version?
Yes, in the Golf, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the Golf 4.
Yeah.
That one was weird. When you're behind it, it kind of sounds like a 5-cylinder, but the timing of the firing of the engines is a little bit off, so it has a very distinct noise.
Yeah. Actually, the engine I miss the most is actually from one of my first cars, which was not a lot of people know it, but it's the Fiat Coupe Turbo.
All right.
Which is an inline 5 turbo, and that thing sounded really nice. You can look up YouTube clips or whatever. It has one of the better sounding engines I've ever had the pleasure of driving, and it's fun. It's fun to drive with. Like you can easily get 350 horsepower out of it. Like
Nice.
no problem at all. It comes stock at around 220. That
Is this a
that was
Red
a fun car.
Frederick hangout? I'm just wondering.
What? It's just because it's engines and cars and
Hellsoy.
Yeah, kind of.
yeah.
So I drive a Golf 6, right? And do you know that the 1.4 liter four-cylinder engines in the Golf 6 don't have any balance shafts?
The TFSI.
Yeah, the TSI. Some versions of the TSI don't have balance shafts because it's simply not necessary at this displacement.
Oh, the mass is not high enough to cause
Yes.
severe shaking.
Yeah. They're packed onto like these shock absorbers, these rubber shock absorbers, and apparently that's enough.
Okay.
I don't know if they do that with the 3 cylinders though, because the 1.2 I think liter 4 cylinders don't exist anymore. They've replaced them with the 1.0 3-cylinder machines.
Yeah.
And I think those have balance shafts again, because you really can't balance a 3-cylinder machine without any balance shafts.
No.
Because there's first order problems and also second order. In 4-cylinder machines, it's only second order. And that's not really a problem.
It's the baby engine of my brother's car. Then he drives a Scirocco.
The Scirocco comes with a 3-cylinder.
No, it's he has the 2-liter.
The 2-liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is rather big. That's almost twice the size of my engine.
Yeah, it's a fast car.
Yeah, I mean the Scirocco is practically a Golf on steroids.
Yeah. It's
apart from the Golf R and the GTI and the GTD and the GTE.
And then of course the Scirocco R.
Oh yeah.
But he drives competitive. It's called the Autoslalom. With it, which is actually really fun. It's like it competes. It's in stock. It competes with heavily modified BMW 3 Series.
Yeah, but BMW 3 Series are crap.
Yep.
Do you know that
BMW owners though?
Yeah. Do you know in Germany BMW 3 Series have a reputation? It's said that they are driven by how do I say that? Slobs.
Oh, okay.
So like people who don't have much money but want to show off, buy a used BMW 3 Series. That's the reputation this car has.
So it has the same reputation as the Porsche Boxster did here then initially, where it was the only reason to buy a Boxster is because you can't afford a 911.
Yeah, that's great.
Here it's actually in Norway for the longest time. I think it's still the case in many places of Norway. Is the BMW 3 Series was branded as.
Just give me a sec. Slice Barcane just messaged me and said that he has a used BMW 3 Series.
Oh, he's not going to like what I was going to say then.
Wow.
I was going to say, here it used to be the thing that I'm going to say this word in Norwegian, and it's kind of racist, but it's called Pakis, which is a slang word for people from Pakistan. So it's like Pakis or Paki, I think it is in English. It's like a derogatory term. Because there was a time where nearly every BMW 3 Series you saw was driven by someone from Pakistan. And it was usually a male between 18 and 20. All
right. Yeah, there was a phase with the BMW 3 Series here as well, only that it was Pakistanis, but Turks.
Ah.
Yeah, for some reason, this car seems to be popular among immigrants.
It's actually one of my favorite radio skits of all time. Here was actually like a prank call from a radio station. Was they pretended to be from a dealership? There was an immigrant that had been at the dealership, and I think it was his wife that had set him up for this, and they called and pretended they were from the dealership and tried to to persuade him away from buying a BMW 5 Series and buy a BMW 3 Series instead, because they didn't want the 5 Series to be branded as an immigrant's car as well.
All right.
Wow.
He lost his shit.
To defend the 5 Series, the 5 Series is actually quite good. The only thing that you have to get used to, as it is in the rest of the BMWs, is the rear-wheel drive, which can be kind of jerky in the winter. I personally wouldn't want one. I would at least, if I drove a BMW, I would want an all-wheel drive system.
Well, the X-Drive system is shit, though.
Yeah, that's true. If you want a good all-wheel drive system, you have to buy either a Subaru or a Audi.
Or a Mercedes.
I don't know about those.
The 4MATIC is essentially the same as it's not the same as Subaru's, but it unlike the X-Drive, it's an all-wheel drive system. It's not a four-wheel drive system, because there's a difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. A lot of people don't know that. So X-Drive is four-wheel drive, and 4MATIC is all-wheel drive. And it's actually really good at winter. That said, I don't understand how, but the three last generations of rear-wheel drive cars from Mercedes have been fucking amazing on winter conditions. You can take my word for it as a Norwegian driving in Norwegian winters.
Something to do how they handle the suspension. The suspension must have become better.
Yeah, because there was like
maybe they changed something about the differential.
Because the generation before the W211, and then to the W211 is like jumping from a rear-wheel drive to a four-wheel drive, but they're both rear-wheel drive. That's how fucking huge the difference is on winter conditions. Like it's like if you took a car from 1902 and put it next to something from current year. It's not a generational shift. It's a quantum fucking leap. And I don't understand how the fuck they did it. But ever since the W211, they've been amazing on winter conditions. Anything before the W211 is shit.
Yeah, maybe they've improved the computer so that it better controls either the suspension or the differential or both.
Yeah, like so the difference is up to my house. The difference is so big that before the W211, if I were to pick up speed at the bottom and try and momentum my way up, I would get stuck. But with a W211 or newer, I could stop mid hill and just do like a hill start and still get up. But that's kind of a different thing.
Is it a manual or automatic?
Automatic.
Automatic.
I don't buy manuals.
Maybe they've changed from. Do you know if they've changed from a torque converter to a dual clutch system?
So the last two generations have been I'm an automatic manual, so like a dual clutch system ish. Yes.
All right, because I think you can start dual clutch systems more smoothly under certain conditions. The torque converters usually kick a little in, and I imagine that in winter conditions that would make the tire spin. I think you can do that more easily with the dual clutch system.
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's
whatever. Congratulations to Mercedes.
Yes, they're excellent winter cars. They're not the slowest they used to be. They used to be absolutely shit, but now they're great. They're still not as good as a good four-wheel drive system, though. Like the rear-wheel drive.
Obviously, I mean you can't beat a four-wheel drive system in winter conditions.
And personally, if I had to choose between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive on winter conditions, front-wheel drive every time.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
because you can't really spin out.
It's yeah.
I remember the first time literally that I drove in the winter or in snow was with a car of my mother. I didn't have a car back then. And the guy in front of me had a 1980s or so old Mercedes, and every time he would start from a traffic light, you would see that his rear axle would spin out of the direction that he was standing in. every freaking time. Why? I mean, obviously, it's the rear drive system that isn't simply it's not pulling you, it's pushing you. And if it's pushing you in a direction where there's no grip, you will spin.
Yep.
Yep.
It's actually so. I haven't owned a 4-wheel drive personally. I've used them a lot during winter, but the best winter car I've ever owned was actually the first car I had, and that was the Peugeot 405. That thing was bloody fucking amazing. Like, I could get up hills people with 4-wheel drives would get stuck at. Don't ask me how, but it worked. It's the best fucking winter car I've ever owned.
How?
That was a front-wheel drive system, right?
No, Kara, I said don't ask me.
Bad.
But yeah, front-wheel drive, 1.9 liter turbo diesel.
Awesome.
You couldn't kill it if you wanted to. I've actually I've seen it on the road still.
I actually installed a, I think, 6-liter tractor diesel engine once. Don't ask me how.
How?
By going off the clutch too fast.
Man. Yeah, well, you can install anything by just dumping the clutch and
Yeah.
not giving throttle, but
Yeah, not really. You can't start a how are they called? Hot bulb engine like that. There's no chance you can do that with a hot bulb engine. But those things aren't being built since 1935 or something. So when are you ever going to have contact with one of these?
yeah,
Did you know how they work?
I don't think so, because I don't think I've heard that.
So on the top end of the engine, you have basically a metal block, a metal sphere. And the fuel, you could practically use any fuel for these, would be sprayed onto the surface of that glowing, red glowing metal block. And it would then ignite. The thing is, those guys have massive torque, but they need giant displacements. And the typical one you see is on really old tractors. It's called the Lance Bulldog. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
So about, I don't know, 6 liters or so of displacement, one single cylinder, and about 15 horsepower or so, maybe.
Oh, I just googled it. Yeah, I've seen these before. The Lance Bulldog. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
Obviously 2 strokes. And they were actually quite good tractors for their time, but you could hear them for at least 4 or 5 kilometers circumference around them, because those fuckers were loud as fuck. And they stank because the combustion wasn't really good. So if you ever see a tractor like that, you will immediately recognize it.
Yeah. I think I've actually seen a model engine of this before running, like for a model truck.
I don't know if you can downsize these. By the way, do you know how to start them?
I guess you crank them somehow.
No. You have to take a torch, like for welding, put it in front of the tractor and manually heat up the hot bulb. And that would take 10 minutes or so. And then you could start cranking them. So usually the really old models, the later models got a injection system with a second tank, with a gasoline tank, and a spark plug. So they would start on gasoline and then later switch to diesel. But the first ones, you had to start them manually. So heat this thing up. That took 10 minutes maybe. And then you had to start turning the flywheel until it started. These things didn't have reverse gears. So in order to drive backwards, you had to stall the engine manually, then wait until the momentum of the flywheel stops it. Then this thing will start turning backwards, and then you have to restart the engine to drive backwards.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Common accidents with these would include someone trying to turn around and knocking it into a wall because he fucked up the moment to restart the engine.
Oh, God.
The first models didn't have rubber wheels, so yeah, you would basically destroy all the tarmac that you would drive on.
Oh, yeah, steel wheels?
Yes.
Oh, God. That's, oh, man.
Good old times. You just, if you're interested, just look them up on YouTube, how to start these. That's so brilliant.
I am right now, actually.
oh, share it.
they look like they actually have like a diesel engine pulling the flywheel or cranking the flywheel.
You mean as a starter?
Yeah.
It might be possible that that was offered in the later years, but in the first one you had to manually turn the flywheel. So you would have usually two people turning it until
they have a torch on it as well. It's a 1909 engine.
All right. Is it just the engine? Because I think the tractors came a little later.
Yeah, this is just the engine.
Yeah, it didn't really change much.
But I'm sure I've seen this as a model engine, or not necessarily a hot bulb engine, but something that looked like it.
Yeah, that's possible. Because as said, I don't really know if you can downsize hot bulb engines. I imagine that you can't because you want to have the hot bulb hot all the time.
Yeah.
And there might be some square cube laws stopping you from doing that with smaller models.
I like the camshaft. It's just a
What camshaft?
Or well, it looks like.
It looks like the thing that you find on old steam-powered trains.
Yeah, it goes off of the essentially the axle and
yes
pushes on
only
some
that the old
valves.
rails were more fuel efficient.
I love these different. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Like an actual engine. I mean, I've seen the tractors, but I haven't seen anyone start anything like this before. I've seen the tractors on museums.
Let me find starting video. Oh yeah, I found one. Oh yeah, that's so typical. Posted it in the side chat. By the way, the amount of smoke produced was
Holy shit! That smoke.
Yeah. Usually, if you do it correctly, they would stop smoking after some time. After a while, you can hear the typical sound. By the way, that wheel that he's using to crank it is the steering wheel. There were some models where you could unplug the steering wheel from the steering column and use it to crank the engine.
That is like brilliantly stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear each individual cylinder fire. It sounds like.
Yeah. And by the way, the exhaust has this shape because there's a resonance effect inside of it that loads the fuel more evenly inside the cylinder. Yeah. Old mopeds usually have the same system, only smaller.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
Usually.
That's why there's some mopeds that actually you lost power. The exhaust.
Yeah. Funny thing is, the East German Trabant even didn't have that, although it had a two-stroke engine. So they were too lazy to build a system into their car that would improve the fuel loading of the cylinders, although it was just two pieces of metal. But to be honest, I'd rather drive a Lance Bulldog tractor than a Trabant.
I agree. Holy shit, you can see the mass is moving. The entire thing is fucking shaking.
Yeah, that's because it's a one cylinder. I think the original model was called Lance 12. And the joke was about it was that so Lance 12 means Lance 12, right?
Yeah.
And the 12 stood for either the top speed, or the amount of horsepower, or the model year when it was introduced, or the displacement. I think it was 3 of the 4. So yeah, very few power for a giant engine.
It probably had a decent amount of torque, though, considering the.
Oh yeah. You could pull tree stumps out of the ground with it.
Yeah. Because the mass of that flywheel is going to generate quite a bit of torque.
Yeah. There's a video on how to reverse with one of these. Yeah. So that model right there in this video is the original one, the first one. Notice that the flywheel is open. So if you were wearing some cords on your body, you could get trapped inside of it, which was bad.
I've actually seen someone, like a surveillance video of someone getting caught in something with high torque.
Oh yeah, that is not beautiful.
No, he didn't get shredded or anything, but he essentially just got turned into like a plushy toy. No solid bones left in the entire body.
Yeah. Look at that giant flywheel. By the way, the reason the flywheel is open is because back then they would attach a big belt to it and the other side to a machine and drive the machine via the flywheel.
Ah, yeah.
So, Kara, are you still on?
Yeah.
All right. So our babble about engines and tractors didn't bore you?
Oh, it did, probably.
Oh, it did. But I'm bored most of the time, so. Yeah.
All right.
I wanted to come on and thank.
Our babble about engines and tractors didn't bore you? Oh, I can hear myself. I'm Rick.
Yeah,
please turn off your audio feedback. That is so annoying.
Should be off. I just wanted to thank Kara for modeling my Taco Earth.
Oh, it's a thing of beauty.
Anytime.
Now it needs a filling. You have to fill it with something.
Yeah, that's kind of the more difficult part.
Maybe, I don't know, flat earth tears?
Flat earth tears would work.
The ice wall isn't tall enough. They would drip off.
That's foolish. There's no ice wall on a taco.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the sour cream edging. It's been rimmed with sour cream all the way around. So what about the people living in the taco?
Well, I can go through the whole thing. I can go through the whole thing, but it's long and complicated, and I'm not sure y'all have the educational level.
Faculties, right? It's understandable. I withhold my question.
Yeah, know your place, woman.
I didn't mean to kill y'all's car chat, but I could talk to you about my 17-year-old Toyota.
So what about it?
Toyota's the cars you can never kill.
I didn't appreciate the talking down on the 3 Series BMW. I mean, come on. It's good cars.
Oh, you happen
I
to
had an
also-
M3. I had an M3 for like 10 years.
Oh no. Okay, so the M3 is the exception. Everything else is garbage.
I mean, you can
Okay,
can
that I would
get-
agree with.
You can get a 3 Series, or you could get a 3 Series with a 1.6 liter engine, I think. Was the 1.6 the smallest? I don't remember. So that's ridiculously undersized for BMW, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's naturally aspirated too. Like, so
Yeah, they were really late on the turbocharger.
lots of noise and literally nothing happened.
And yeah, I agree with you, Ola. If you want a BMW, you should buy the M cars. And Audi, not necessarily for the RS cars. If you want a really largely sized family car, you can buy an A6 or a A4. They're quite nice. And they're fast as fuck, even the non-sporty versions.
I think honestly, I would probably take the Skoda Superb over the A6 or the Passat.
Why not the Passat?
I've driven both. And
Which versions? The newest one is practically a oversized Golf.
yeah, no, the so the Passat isn't, so a station wagon is really popular here in Norway, and the Passat has always been like teeny fucking tiny. Calling it a station wagon is a joke. The only real sized ones have been the Skoda Superb, the Mercedes E-Class, and the Volvo V70. And now the V70 is getting smaller. The 5 Series is finally getting decently sized. The Passat is still a tiny joke. And the A6 is still too small, but it's larger than the 5 Series, so it's better. But the Superb is still a better car, if you ask me, both to drive and be in, and for practical reasons, than both the A6 and the Passat.
All right. That's fair. But you can get the Passat as a plug-in hybrid.
I'm pretty sure you can do that with the Superb as well.
No, I would know that, I think. What a Superb. Give me a second. Newest one? Nope. No hybrid.
It is here.
What?
Oh no, it's been okay. So that's why I know it's been announced that it's coming.
All right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I mean,
Yeah.
it's more or less identical to the Passat, anyways.
Yeah. And honestly, the fucking Skoda drivers are the worst drivers on the Autobahn. Like, not even kidding.
I personally think it's the Fiat drivers.
Oh, they're bad too, but holy fucking shit, the Skoda drivers. Holy shit. And
Why
plug-in
do
hybrids are actually really good.
why do you think the Skoda drivers are crappy?
No. Worst as in speeding.
Ah, all right.
Yeah. Pretty much
Wait,
pretty much
do you
every
mean
Skoda I saw.
too much speeding or too little?
Too much.
Too much. All right. Yeah, you have to ask that in the case of Germany, because sometimes people on a 2-lane highway, for some reason, reserve the right to stay on the left lane at 110 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
And that's usually the Fiat guys.
I was actually behind one. It was in they say, they claim it's a Mini Cooper. It's not a Mini Cooper. The Countryman.
Yep.
It's not a Mini Cooper. That's a fucking, I don't even know what to call it. It's like the 3 Series BMW wish they produced or some shit. Like, it's
You know that Mini is made by BMW.
yeah, that's why I said it.
All right.
But like, it's just calling it a Mini is a joke for the name. But anyway.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's until now that's the case for all Minis. They're gigantic.
Yeah, they are. But I was behind one on one of the motorways here. I was doing 90, and they would not move. 90 is fast for the motorways here on the West Coast.
All right. And you remember the worst case of someone driving too slow on the left lane was About 2 years ago, I was driving to Cologne for the Gamescom, and I drove in the middle of the night because then the highway is empty. And it was at Frankfurt. You know the A3 between Frankfurt and Cologne.
Yeah.
There's like 10 kilometers or so between the airport in Frankfurt and a little further west, where actually both directions have 4 lanes, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
And this guy was on the second lane to the left and was doing 100 in a usual car. Both lanes on the right were empty, and the one on the left was empty. And for some reason, he stayed there in the second or in the third lane, depending on how you count it. That means that if you approach him and you're coming from on the most right lane, in order to overtake him correctly, you have to switch 3 lines to the left, overtake him, and then switch 3 lines back.
Yep.
Why?
It's because people can't drive on highways or motorways. They're dumb.
Yes, and that's why some people think it's okay to overtake on the right, because in this case, this would probably have been safer.
Well, see, here it's actually here it's like on a case-by-case basis, but it's like that wouldn't necessarily be counted as being overtaking. That would simply be passing. If you're already in the right lane and you're going faster than someone hogging the left lane, passing them on the inside is fine. If you're in the left lane, catching up with them, changing lanes to the right lane, overtaking, and then going back to the left lane, that is an overtake.
All right, yeah, that's not the case here. When you're passing someone on his right side, that's illegal.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, outside of cities, obviously. When you're in cities and there are 2 lanes, there's no rule regarding that.
No, but that is like it's technically still an overtake, but in almost every single case, they will just say that you're passing someone that's going slower.
All right.
But it's yeah, I know it's not like that in Germany, but it still happens. I've overtaken people on the right as well, just simply because, like, if you're not going fast enough, let's say you're in an unrestricted section, and there's 3 lanes, and you're in the middle lane, and you're catching up on someone, it's pretty much safer for both you and everyone else to overtake on the right in that case, if there's heavy traffic in the left lane of speeding drivers.
Yeah, I generally agree, but in Germany the law is very clear.
Yeah.
And I think it's all right, because usually when people switch to the right lane, so they are on the left lane, they're trying to switch to the right lane, usually they don't use the rear mirrors for some reason.
Yeah,
and I think one of the reasons why overtaking on the right is strictly prohibited is because of that. Because no one really expects that someone is coming from the right side.
Yeah. I still always check, just because people are idiots.
Yeah.
It's like, that's actually, I remember that's one of the things my dad taught me when I started learning to drive, is like, everyone else are complete fucking morons. Okay? Don't trust anyone. They're all fucking idiots behind the wheels.
That is true.
It's yeah.
Especially the Audi drivers on the highway.
Especially the Audi drivers.
Those are the guys who like to tailgate all the time.
Yeah.
Like, let's say in this scenario, you're going, let's say conservative, 220 kilometers per hour. And you're overtaking someone. And usually when there's enough space, obviously you go to the right lane. But there's this sometimes where you would have to go to the right lane and then immediately have to switch back to the left one, because there's the next guy you want to overtake. Usually you simply stay on the left one, and the guy behind you obviously has to wait. And what Audi drivers do, what BMW drivers really don't in the last 5 or 6 years, is then immediately tailgate you. And that's something that is so fucking dangerous. You can't. Yeah.
What's funny is it's dangerous to them just as much as the people around them. It's like, I've seen so many videos of somebody getting brake checked, and that person ends up flying off the road because they're idiots tailgating somebody.
Yep.
I think one of the worst I've seen was actually, so we have mandatory courses for slippery conditions on all driver's licenses.
All right, that's cool. We don't, for some reason.
Yeah, I think that should be mandatory, no matter where you are.
Yeah,
simply because-
definitely. So
Yeah.
so you know how your car behaves when you've lost control over it.
Yeah, so when winter comes, one of the first things I do is when I put my winter tires on is one of the first things I do is after checking that there's correct air pressure in them, obviously, is to find
Go play?
somewhere. What?
You go play in a parking lot.
Yep.
So that, yep, I do the
And-
same thing.
Yeah, and that is a lot of people do not understand why, and it's simply because tires change from season to seasons. Conditions change from day to day. If you don't know how the car behaves with the set of tires you have on right now and in the condition the car is in right now, it's too late when you enter a dangerous or a dangerous scenario. You need to know how it behaves on the limit and past the limit at any given time. One of these classes I had, this is for big rigs or trucks, like heavy vehicles, heavy duty vehicles. They actually showed this was I forgot where it was, but I'm pretty sure that the driver was Polish. They had his name on it. It looked really Polish. He was going down. This was a motorway or a highway. It could have been on the German Autobahn. And he was just filling with his cell phone. And the traffic up front stopped. And he didn't realize it until it was too late. So he plowed through 4 cars. And he killed 2 families. Right?
Shit.
And that's why tailgating is bad. Just because in his case, it was simply because driving distracted and he didn't see it. And he had proper distance. But having proper distance and not paying attention is the same as being too close and paying attention. You're still gonna rear end.
I just have to show you something. So can you see my screen? No, you can't.
That is obviously CGI.
Now you should be. So this is a Google Maps route from Passau to Dresden. All right. And the route through Germany is 90 kilometers longer, but it's still faster.
Yep.
Because the direct route would go to the Czech Republic more or less directly. And for some reason, I mean, we all know the reason, it's faster to go use the A3 than the A93 than the 72 and then the A4 to Dresden. I think that's totally awesome. What do you think?
I think they planned it that way.
What did they
To make
plan
it
the way
take
that
longer
highway?
so that people would go around, yeah.
I think they originally planned to have the borders a little differently, but that didn't work out. Oh, you didn't get the joke.
I'm clueless.
I see what you did.
That was a World War II joke.
Yeah, I see what you did. It was a nice attempt though.
Yeah.
Like my I think I've said it to you before. Actually, I don't know, but my dad has jokingly said at multiple occasions that he wished Hitler was in power for a few more years because he had plans to build an autobahn between Bergen and Oslo.
All right. Did you know that the last part of original Autobahn from the pre-World War II area was only replaced 5 years ago?
Oh.
Yeah. It was somewhere northeast of Berlin. I don't know where exactly.
It's a lot of road surface though to swap. So
yeah, that's not the point, but that was simply overdue because obviously that was in Eastern Germany and nobody really bothered to switch the surfaces.
Yeah.
But the main difference is the original Autobahn first of all, it didn't have a hard shoulder.
Oh, okay.
That is a major problem. Then it didn't have a safety rail in the middle between the 2 lanes or between the 2 directional lanes. That is also fucking
that's
dangerous.
very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third one was that this was also made with these concrete blocks. So you would have that rattling sound every few seconds, and it would slowly but steadily destroy your suspension.
Yeah.
Hey, Geo, can you present me for just a second? I need to debunk Soundly's birds.
Ah, you need to debunk Soundly's
It'll take-
birds.
Yeah, it'll just take a second.
I posted a link, by the way, for my route through Europe. You can have a look.
All right. I think now the sarcasm starts with I'm Rick right here.
I don't know what you mean. I'm just gonna.
How dare you suggest he's being sarcastic? That
Oh
is-
no, he's obviously serious. He's a flat earther and he will debunk us all.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm a taco earther.
He's a talker.
Here's the bird. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, wait, give me a second.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
to
we
present
see.
to everybody. So yeah.
There's the bird. And then Soundly, this is what he CGI'd from. Zoomed in 1,000%. You see that?
Yeah, I see artifacting.
What? Yeah, you can tell he put that in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you can. It's pretty obvious.
Yep.
Don't
Okay.
you see
Okay,
that
that's
there's
all.
no parallax there whatsoever?
Right. That's all I had.
That whole parallax thing was hilarious. It's like, okay, you've moved 20 feet. The angle to the tower has changed, what, a degree?
I think it was about 1.2 degrees or so, yeah.
They're just so geometrically incompetent. It's pathetic.
I think you can leave out the geometrically. They're completely incompetent.
Well, and
True,
anyone that
but
claims
I'm
that
being
you
more
can,
specific.
hey, Kara, anyone that claims that you can judge distance based on the apparent size of an object alone is kind of stupid.
And do you remember the claim that Anthony made presenting NumBy? So Riley basically said that his friend NumBy would, first of all, work for television, which I doubt. But second, that he would, quote, be able to see CGI or to recognize CGI if he saw it.
Okay, so
I'm calling bullshit on both, obviously.
I know personally one of the guys that does live CGI for BBC, among other things.
All right.
Right? He won't be able to tell the difference between some kinds of CGI and real thing. Like, he does it for a living. He's one of the best in the world at it, and he doesn't. So
Well, it's at the point where nobody can really tell unless someone tells you whether it was CGI or not, depending on how good the artist is.
in some cases, it's actually the one that looks the best is the CGI, because oftentimes people overdo details and beauty.
Or things are too clean.
Yeah.
I'm Rick. I know for a fact that is not made by Soundly. That is a picture from Google Street View.
No, that's obviously CGI. You can tell. You see the railings. So there's some color distortion around one of the railing, and that tells me that this has been copy pasted.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Chromatic aberration.
No.
Chromatic aberration.
Chromatic aberration and a rolling shutter isn't actually a real thing. That just proves that it's been CGI.
Oh, okay, yeah. Rolling shutter, yeah, that's the other one.
And then what happened to those propellers? Have you seen videos of propellers filmed with rolling shutter cameras?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Have you seen the rolling shutter actually stopped? There was a GoPro from a high altitude balloon that dropped, and it started spinning at the same rate as.
Not from a high altitude balloon. I saw one that was dropped from a small aircraft, I think.
Oh, we might be talking about
the one that ended in the pig pen.
Yeah, we might be talking about the same one, I think.
The Dwayne Quellum footage, his first balloon launch, actually, he had that happen. When it started falling, it would spin so fast that he was getting the rolling shutter distortion.
Yeah,
Cool.
but there's one that actually it spins with the same capture rate of the sensor, so you get an actual like still image while it's falling and spinning.
Gotcha.
So
that might actually be. Let me pull it up.
So as you can see here, CGI by Soundly, live in Google Earth. What the heck is that? or whatever. So my next hangout will probably be in 2 weeks with Nambi.
Gosh, look at that curve.
That'll be awesome.
My brain already hurts. Because I think this guy today, he was all right in the sense that he's not a dishonest shitbag. But Nambi kinda is.
Was that the guy that was in with Anthony?
Yeah, the last time that I was on Anthony's channel, that was the other guy, Nambi.
Yeah, the one that kept saying, "I won't concede that. I will have to get back to you with after having done
Yeah.
more research
Yeah.
or some shit."
Yeah.
Yeah. Which essentially translates to whatever you're saying, I'm not going to listen to, and I won't do anything to disprove or prove it.
Yeah, that was the impression that I had as well. And for some reason, he thinks I owe him an apology because for some reason he says that I have been arrogant towards him, which I can't confirm.
Well, okay, so you're allowed to be arrogant when you're actually like factually on a higher level functionally than another human being. You're kind of allowed to. It's still not a nice thing to do, but you're allowed to. You don't owe him anything.
Yeah, I didn't think I did. I think he behaved a little weirdly in that sense.
And in the same fashion, though, it's also disrespectful to obviously at some points like not giving two flying fucks about what's being said and presented when you're in there for a discourse about certain subjects. So in that sense, he owes you an apology.
Yes, definitely.
Which means I guess you're even. You can just call it quits, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Now, that was
But-
entertaining, though. I listened to that while driving across Norway.
You mean the last hangout?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had it
So
on
didn't
my.
so I didn't distract you too much so that you would drive off the road laughing and then dying.
No, in Norway, the speed limit is low enough that wouldn't happen. If I'd put that on in Germany, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Probably.
That said, though, I did almost run off a couple of cliffs because we actually have mountains here. But we also have.
We do as
railings.
well. You just have to know where to look for them.
Yeah. I did visit Bergen-Belsen, though. That was
Bergen-Belsen. All right.
yeah, that was sobering.
Yeah, it's north of Hanover, if I remember correctly.
Sounds correct. Yeah.
It's one of the few concentration camps on German soil. The more nasty ones were in now
Wasn't
today
it
Poland.
Yeah, Poland. Yeah.
And I think a few in the Czech Republic. I've yet only been to one in Flossenburg that is close to the Czech border. For example, for some reason, I already haven't been in Dachau. Dachau is near Munich, but the other ones, no, not yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's Bergen-Belsen is where Anne Frank
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like it's kind of when you see the mass graves, it's just like, so here's like 2,500, here's another 1,000, here's about 800, here's about another 2,500.
Yeah, it's
Just,
insane.
Piled up in a ditch.
Sickening.
It is.
There's no other way to describe it. Sickening.
No. Yeah, and especially there's a video hall. So when you enter the actual museum, one of the first thing you run into is actually it's just like a small open theater where it's just a projector projecting names of people that has been confirmed. That because the Germans, if there's one thing the German military was good at, was logging shit. So there's paper trails for every name almost.
Yeah,
with photo
interestingly, the
evidence.
bureaucracy was astonishing.
Yeah, like they had meticulous records. Like no one can claim that they weren't good with their records. So there's and photos where they were from and when they died, simply just being displayed one after another. That runs continuously on the.
Have you been? You haven't been in Berlin, right?
No.
Right next to the Brandenburg Gate, there's this huge Holocaust memorial site. It's basically, I don't know, maybe 300 times 300 meters, and it contains a few thousand or a few 10,000 of concrete blocks. And there's actually a small museum underneath it.
Oh.
And in the museum underneath it, there is a room that contains nothing but old family photos of people that were killed. That is powerful.
Yeah. It's probably close to the same where there's a different video theater in Bergen-Belsen that shows this also just runs continuously, and it shows video interviews with both like people that were captured, soldiers, and Allied soldiers after liberation. And you can like it's really chilling seeing how casual some of the soldiers attending the camp were. Like, just, hi, my name is such and such and I have this and this role, and then just picking out people to go and do slave labor.
Yeah.
But it's the whole us and them mentality, right? Like if you can convince people that certain people do not deserve even the most basic things.
As soon as you can tell someone that another person is not entirely human. So there's this concept called dehumanization.
Yeah.
And that basically says, when you tell someone, when you really explain to someone that another person isn't human or is some sort of lower being, then anything basically can happen.
Yeah, I think apart from obviously seeing some of the footage from one of the more disturbing ones were actually like live footage taken by German soldiers of just a literal truckload of starved corpses, like just a pile of humans, and you see soldiers with like bayonets on their rifles, almost like essentially just stabbing them to work harder, move these corpses into the pile faster. It's
Hey guys, I'm gonna run. So
yeah.
Thanks for having
All
me.
right.
Enjoyed the show.
Thanks for being here.
Yep, Kara, see you. So actually, I'm going to take this hangout offline. Is still somebody watching? Oh, 13 people. So
I don't. They got to be drunk and forgot to hit the X on the
probably,
on the
or maybe just my might be something wrong with my YouTube page. So I'm gonna refresh. Oh no, it's only 11. That sounds more realistic.
Yep.
So thank you for everybody who's been here, and in probably 2 weeks there will be the next hangout with Numby, who maybe deserves the nickname Dumby, but whatever. So see you.